What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another live stream of Let's Get Nuts with the boys on Sunday afternoon. I've got probably the most full panel of folks I've ever had on a show. In fact, one just had to drop out because I don't have the right StreamYard, so I gotta get working on that, I think, for future shows. But Chris, if you're out there listening, you are the man, good sir. Today, guys, we are going to talk Hot Toys news. We got Exo-6 Fails. We've got some Mondo Toys to talk a little bit about, and so much more, including Father's Day. So let's celebrate the fathers today, of course, with another episode of Let's Get Nuts. Let's get into it.
Come on, let's get nuts.
I give you Ben, Thomas.
Showdown.
Here we go.
Alrighty, guys, without further ado, today we have Mr. Pete being the first person and the last person to join the stream. You'll love to see it. How's it going, Pete?
Even all good. Yeah, and let me just give a big shout out to Chris Porteous for dropping out tonight and let me join, and hopefully we'll see you next week, Chris.
For sure. Yeah, I gotta get the non-free StreamYard. It only lets me have 6 guests, so when 7 people want to be here, I'm like, I want all 7 people. It's hard to say no to anybody. So if taking one for the team, he's the man for sure. Yeah. So, of course, Only Fools in Collecting, Mr. Pete. This is what the logo, guys, looks like. If you haven't already seen it, it is that division of Collecting Weekly. But next, we have a very special guest. First time on Let's Get Nuts. It's Mr. J. Feezy, or Feezy's Figures, here joining the show. Good to see you, buddy. Thanks for joining in.
Yeah, thanks for having me. First time, long time. Yeah, but no, thanks for having me. First and foremost, happy Father's Day to all my fellow collectors out there, to all you fathers, you daddies, your boppies, your patriarchs, and your paterfamilias, for those of you who are who are Ardell fans.
You'll love it. By the way, it wouldn't be a Let's Get Nuts show without me, or at least some of my guests, tripping over the words a little bit. So it's just part of the show at this point. You know, I'm notoriously clipped at this point. So, and Jay, I like that your background lighting actually matches your logo there. That's a very seamless transition, good sir. So well done.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah.
Next, we have, of course, you all know him as Shane. ONESIXTHFIGUREFOCUS here once again with us. I love the fact that you are on your summer break now, Shane, because I never know when we're going to get a chance to see you, buddy. But how are you doing?
You love the fact that I'm on my summer break.
Fair.
Well, that's something we can both agree on. Yeah, man, it's look, I'm an old man at heart, so 10 p.m. here, I need to get a sleep on a school night. I'm sorry, I got to be asleep at 9 o'clock, but on the summer, I'm all yours. Shout out to Chris as well, who, you said earlier on, who moved so we could come in. So that's gracious. I do appreciate that.
Yeah, definitely.
So thanks very much for the invite. Appreciate it.
Happy to have you back, buddy. Thanks for joining in once again. Today we also have, you may know him as SpongeBob SquareBowls. I know him as Classy Thomas. Mr. Classy Thomas, how are you doing today, buddy? Good to see you.
I am doing classy. Very, very classy today. I'm hanging in there, doing good.
Heck yeah, dude! I'm liking the light display you got behind you. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm still adjusting. I don't know what it is about my light setup, but these colors behind me are really, really vibrant. But I'm looking at the stream and they just look kind of faded out. So I'm working out lighting issues. And once I get them figured out, hopefully the effect will be there the way I want it to here in my grotto.
Absolutely. I've had to be really strategic with my lighting, my ring lighting and stuff, so that people can still see my face, because I like having the cabinet lighting behind me, right?
Yeah, I love that.
For sure.
Looks great.
Sure. Now, certainly, last but not least, today we've got also Mr. Lane Kramer joining us. Now, Lane put up his hand last week and said, hey, I would love to join you guys for at least Let's Get Nuts at some point. And he's here already this week. Good to see you, buddy. Thanks for joining in.
I am so happy to be here with some of these wonderful gentlemen who pretty much almost everybody I can say I've been here already online in one form or another, and I am just looking forward to talking some figures. I never get to do it on a Sunday usually, which is kind of nice, and it's 97 degrees outside right now, so literally I could say there is nothing I would rather be doing than this right now, because it means I get to stare in the air conditioning. We got a lot to talk about. Make sure you hit the like button, everybody who is in chat. We do appreciate it. I know Ben never would say no to that. And let's have some fun today.
Absolutely. Well said, Lane. Good to see you here, buddy. And of course, like we said at the beginning of the show, guys, we not only have a full group of panelists here, but we also have a really full show sheet. So today, I may skip around a little bit more with the guests than I normally do. I'm not going to get absolutely everybody's take on everybody's subject, just so we're not here for necessarily 3 or 4 hours. We'll try and keep it to still less than 2 for everybody watching. We already have 25 people here in the show. Thanks for joining in already. Again, today is Father's Day. So to all the fathers out there, happy Father's Day. To all the fathers that may or may not be still with us, of course, you guys are always in our thoughts. We're only here because of y'all, and of course, we love you. It's appreciated. I still have to call both my stepdad and my dad today after the show, which is another reason I can't be here all day. So, guys, let's check in with the chat real quick before we get rolling into the figure news and entertainment news. We've got F. Wellington here in the chat. Thanks for joining in, buddy. He sent me a really nice photo the other day of his He-Man figure with my logo and show up on the screen and behind him. So it's cool to have fans out there in the world that like watching the show. So we got Feezy Figures himself, of course, 1/6 figure focus, I should say, in the chat. Joker J, it would not now be a chat without Joker J, let's be honest. King Dingaling, what's up, guys? We've got 12-inch Moose Stream. Happy Father's Day, community of collectors. 12-inch, I really liked your photo of your dad today. I thought that was a great tribute photo there. We've got Mr. Mike Latoris. Hey, what's up, everybody? I was watching Will's stream on Friday, and he just realized what that name is supposed to sound like, and I was like, really? I love Will though. He's so innocent. You love to see it. We got Mr. Collector Joey in the chat here. Hello, happy Father's Day, he says. We got Jose G. Hernandez. Hey Ben, have you seen Flash? My DMs are open for your apology. I have not seen The Flash yet, so up till today, at this very moment, I still think Thomas Wayne exists in the Flash movie, but I'm happy to be wrong on that. We got Tyria in the chat here as well. Happy Papi Day. Good to see you here. We've got, of course, Big Dog Pound 1 in the chat. Good to see you here. As well as, who else do we got? Oh, we've got Hannah in the chat. Happy Father's Day to all the fur dads too. Absolutely, because she knows that I only have a big ass kitty waiting for me after the show here. And we've got, of course, Thalia Meyer in the chat. Lane Kramer himself, thank you for that, of course, Lane. And of course, we've got the Eclectic Collector. What's up, guys? We also have Yomo in the chat. Man, we got a ton of folks here. I appreciate you guys all being here. Thank you so much. He says, yo, happy Father's Day, collectors. And then last but not least, of course, we've got Kelvin, aka the Loki Collector. And Kelvin, we still got to get you back, buddy. I know Sundays aren't always the best timing for you with your life, but we certainly miss you here. DJ just popped in as well as Community Arcade. Guys, we'll check back in the chat in a little bit here. Let's get into the show, because I got some interesting stuff that always pops up on my Facebook. Of course, you guys know me. I'm a bit of a nerd. I like to talk about some random stuff. And today I saw this come up on IGN, and it says, on his Fat Man Beyond podcast, Kevin Smith told co-host Mark Bernardine he has a copy of a long-rumored extended cut of Joel Schumacher's Batman Forever. Now, for those who know me, of course, they know that I'm a bit of a Batman Forever geek. I used to love it as a kid. I do have the Val Kilmer Batman and Robin Hot Toys, the Throbbin, of course. But Feezy, I wanted to go with you quickly first. If you got an opportunity to see an extended cut of this film, would you be excited, or would you be like, it's just not needed?
I think I would be excited. I mean, it's not my favorite Batman, but just because the exclusivity of it and just having that special screening, I guess, if it was only open to a select few people, especially if I got to go to Kevin Smith's house and he was like, hey, come to my private theater and to watch it, I wouldn't mind. It's a fun movie regardless, but yeah, definitely not my favorite. I'd be excited.
Absolutely. Shane, who's your favorite character from this Batman Forever film?
Fuck me. Jeez. Pete, this guy just doesn't get it, does he?
No.
Favorite character. I want to
Alfred.
say.
Drew Barrymore.
No, I'm gonna go a bit creepier. The Australian model that no, I think she was the fourth one. Who plays Vicky? Who plays the love interest in this one?
This is Nicole Kidman in this one.
Yeah,
I
I'm
believe, yes,
gonna
the
go
one.
with that.
Yeah.
Chase Meriden.
That is fair. Yeah, that is fair. Chase Meridian, I think it was there. Chase
that's it.
Meridian. Yeah, you love to see it. Pete, who is your favorite character, and would you be excited for an extended cut of the Batman Forever film?
Not excited, but I would
Not
watch it.
excited.
I would watch it out of curiosity.
Fair.
And Alfred.
Alfred, there you go.
Yeah,
Thomas,
You know he's trolling us, right, Pete? That's exactly
Yeah,
what he's
I know.
doing.
You gotta get Let's Get Nuts started with a little bit of a troll. Thomas, who is your favorite character in Batman Forever? Good sir, you tell us, and would you be excited for this film?
You know, now is this the one with Riddler and
Riddler?
and Two-Face?
Yes, sir.
I'm gonna have to say Riddler because I just bought that figure, and the third party figure. So I'll say Riddler because I like the costume, but I really did not enjoy this movie. Val Kilmer to me just was not my Batman. So yeah, but I did really like the Riddler, and so I'll say him.
The Riddler. Hey, that's a
Yeah.
good choice. Okay, and then Lane, big shoes to fill here, buddy. You gotta win this argument. Who is your favorite character from Batman Forever, and would you be excited about an extended cut if you got to see one?
Oh, definitely Drew Barrymore is one of the assistants because
Heck yeah.
she was in that outfit.
She was the angel, I believe, right? She was the angelic side of
Harvey
his
Dent
personality.
side,
Yeah.
Well, certain angelic side to that, but I would also say that for actual character, I'll do a runner-up would be Riddler as well. But I actually really like Jim Carrey as
Well said.
Riddler in that movie. But that time frame, I was a big fan of his. And hey, you know what? That figure of him came out as giving Throbbing a run for his money.
I am excited for that figure. The one from Mars Toys. I'm excited to get that in hand. I'm not going to lie. Joker J says here, I barely remember this movie. I think I had all the drinking glasses from McDonald's at one point, and I still actually have the Riddler drinking glass up in the cupboard upstairs. So, all right, guys, that got my juices flowing. I'm warmed up here. Okay, so let's move it on. So. This also popped up on Screen Rant this weekend, and it looks like here the first few meetings were about Spider-Man 4, and Tom Holland apparently spills secrets of Marvel and Sony's Spider-Man's 4 planning meeting. Now, the reason I brought this up is this. Do you guys think that there's any level of stigma when it comes to a fourth movie in a franchise? I know at that point a lot of people start to feel like it's probably going to go downhill. It's not going to be as good as the first 3. Jay or Feezy, what do you think, buddy? Is there a stigma to fourth movies, and should we be excited for a Tom Holland 4?
Yeah, I think typically based on previous movies and experiences, the fourth isn't really 3 by chance also aren't really typically good. So, but I don't know. This might be different just because the previous 3 were pretty good. So yeah. Man, I don't know. Yeah, this could be tough. They could pull it off. There have been exceptions, Toy Story 4, but obviously that's an animated movie. There's the first one that comes to mind. I can't think of any others that had 4 that were still equally as good.
That's fair.
But yeah, I would say there's potential in this one if the same team behind the previous 3 were with this one. I haven't read the specifics on this, but I think it has potential.
I watched Starship Troopers 4 the other day. I can tell you.
Oh.
Not so
Yeah,
good.
there was one.
No,
Not so good. Not that great.
Was it Star Troopers 4?
Yeah. It was very B movie.
Was it
I
straight
must
to
say,
video?
at this
Animated,
point.
was it?
So I don't know. It wasn't animated, but I think it was probably a straight to video at one point. I liked
you
the
gonna
one
ask us what
originally
our-
with Denise Richards.
Yeah.
What
Oh
were you
yeah,
saying?
definitely.
Yeah.
Are you gonna? I was just getting ready to. If you're going to ask us all what our favourite fourth movie in the franchise is.
Yeah, I can't even think of one. It's definitely not Kingdom of the Crystal Skull for me.
No,
I'll
I'm
tell you
just
that.
racking my brains thinking.
Did someone say Denise Richards?
Oh yeah. Hello. Yes, I did.
Well, I can name one.
Lane, you tell me what is one character you would like to see from Spider-Man 4?
Black Cat.
Black Cat.
I want to
Good.
see.
yes.
I want to see her as the love interest for Spider-Man and Spider-Man War. give a
Heck
break
yeah,
from
dude.
Zendaya and MJ. I think when they left her character was very good, and it, seeing kind of not the same thing, but kind of a Batman Catwoman maybe as kind of dynamic for a little bit. It would be something different for a Spider-Man movie. I mean, they've done it for whatever years in comics, but I think it would just be something different.
I totally agree. I loved the Black Cat storyline in the the PS4 Spider-Man game. I thought she was a great DLC content there. Action Figure Academy says John Wick 4 debunks your theory. It's a baller flick. I loved John Wick 4. I didn't like it as much as some of the others, though. I noticed him slowing down. I noticed him pulling some punches a little bit. I also noticed there was a few times in that film where I thought he should have easily just been shot by the group of henchmen that surrounded him, and they didn't. They just, they waited for him to attack. So, while I loved the film, I did feel like it was the least believable of the four films so far. Pete, what would be one character you'd really like to see from Spider-Man 4, whether it's a good character or a villain?
Don't know.
No
I don't know.
feels from the English side of the world?
I don't know. I'm not. I quite like Spider-Man, but I'm not a scholar of these issues. I can't really think of anybody. Come back to me. There's somebody, but I'm trying to think what. Yeah,
Mike,
definitely. Yeah.
Mike Latoris here says, Star Wars Episode 4: A New Hope. Okay.
Yeah,
There's a loophole in there, though. It's a technicality.
That'd be my choice.
I don't know.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, that was cheating right there.
yeah. Shane, what do you think? Would you have a favorite character or somebody you'd really want to see in the next Spider-Man film?
No, I'm kind of easy enough, man. I really like Tom Holland. He's my Spider-Man. They've done a great job of putting it all together, and every single appearance so far in the MCU has been his origin story. It was a fresh take. We didn't really need to see Uncle Owen or whatever, Uncle Ben, get killed again and again. I really liked how they just spun it on the heels. And now look, now he's got rid of all the Stark tech and he just has his own homemade suit, and by all means everyone loved that suit. So I just hope that they concentrate on this movie. They just concentrate on Spidey 4 and maybe concentrate less on building the next 10 years of the MCU. Just work on this movie and where he laid us a foundation again for Spider-Man on his own. But look, if you want to answer your question, I'd like to see a live action Miles, maybe a Gwen.
Hey,
who knows?
there you go. Heck yeah. I like what you're saying there, though, about really focus on this one. Have this almost feel like it's a jumping off point again. Not a fourth film necessarily, but almost like a first film.
Yeah, concentrate on the here and now. I know MCU have built for the first 3 phases up onto this beautiful endgame culmination, and that takes planning, and I get that, but I think maybe they need to go back to basics a bit and concentrate on the present and what you're doing and just lay those foundations right. Just bit of focus goes a long way, pun very much intended.
Totally agree. Which one of us is Midnight Collector? Who do we? Oh, that's Lean. Okay, he says in the back chat here, one of the best fourth movies, Friday the 13th, the final chapter gave us Corey Feldman, Jason's full movie hockey mask, at Crispin Freeman dance, and a spear gun to the groin death. You love to see it. Well said, Lean. Well said. I'm getting private messages in the back oh shit, what's happening? Somebody's lighting up. You hate to see it. So, Thomas, I know we skipped you on this one, so I'm going to get you first on this next slide. So, of course, this is a spoilery image of
Kraven the Hunter.
Kraven, thank you. I don't know, that zipped away from my brain for a second there. Kraven the Hunter. And people have been complaining about this image, saying this doesn't look enough like Kraven, he doesn't look old enough, he doesn't look grisly enough. But I like this actor. I thought he was great as Kick-Ass, and he's put on a ton of muscle mass, that looks like, for this role. Are you excited to see this actor play Kraven? And do you think that image is an indication of a good movie, or people are getting read too into it at this point?
I think people are getting a little too, I think that this is for people who are more traditionalist or are into let's go comic specific. I feel a little bit more like what I saw Stan Lee doing. I had issues with a lot of things, a lot of the changes that were made in previous movies. But I saw an interview with him once, and he said, I love these new interpretations that people are doing of these old pieces. Of course, they're using the original backstories, but they're making adjustments and things to not only make them more cinematic, but to do other things. I kind of like the fact that he's not exactly like the comic book, and I think Aaron Taylor Johnson can probably pull this off. Because did you see him in what was that movie? Nocturnal Animals, I believe.
I didn't see that one.
He played a backwoods type of thing that was so gnarly, and that was something I never expected out of him. And so he really surprised me. I think he can probably pull this off, and I'm glad that they're making this rated R, because in that way we can really get into some real Kraven violence and really show what he's all about. So I'm kind of digging it. I have not been too excited about any movie in the Sonyverse except for the Spider-Verse movies that did not have any of Kevin Feige and his team's input. But I think I think this may surprise me. So I'm going in with an open mind, and I'm going in expecting to enjoy this, and I'm hoping that he won't let me down.
Absolutely. Well said, Classy Thomas, of course. Yomo here says, is this the actor that played Quicksilver, right? It's one of them, anyways, because there's, of course, been two different actors that have played that role. Pete, when it comes to Sonyverse, we've seen now a couple of films that people like and a couple films that people don't totally love. I liked the first Venom film. I didn't really like Let There Be Carnage that much. I felt a little let down by it. I felt lukewarm on Morbius. I'm not gonna lie. It was okay, but I didn't hate it as much as some people did. But I definitely didn't love it enough to necessarily even want to collect from it. When it comes to Kraven, are you very familiar with this character? Is this a film that you're getting excited about at this point?
No, sorry, I don't know the character at all. All I would say is he's not lion-y enough for me in the other picture. He needs that. He needs the lion top, because surely that is his iconic look. And I know that they always strive to kind of make costumes more real world, and they don't always translate. But I think they could have done some more, even if he had like a more of a sort of mane round his, and that may well just be that's his first costume, and they kind of it gets developed. But yeah, I didn't enjoy it. I mean, I'm a big Tom Hardy fan, and he made the first movie sort of mildly entertaining. But yeah, I wasn't a fan. Certainly not a fan of the second one. Just think it was a bit disappointing, and I think Venom is definitely overdue for a bit of a reboot.
Absolutely. Feezy, do you think that it's a good thing that we get spoilerific images like this, or do you think it actually tanks our excitement if it's not an ideal representation of the character from first show? Because my take here is, what if this is just an earlier version of Kraven? Maybe this is him in his younger days. Maybe he hasn't earned that lion suit yet, for example. What are your thoughts?
No, yeah, that was my initial thought when you first brought this up. This is just obviously a still from the film, so we don't know. There's no context, right? So we don't know at what point in the movie this is happening. But yeah, I think this could be either him training or something, or like an earlier in the film type of moment, like you mentioned, where he still hasn't, maybe he finds out there's some other his prey that he's hunting. He has to develop a better suit, and so that's where he comes up with the lion one. But to like what Pete was saying, usually when they bring these villains to live action, they have to make some real world modifications, right? You have Vulture and Green Goblin. They obviously don't look exactly like their comic counterparts. So, but that lion vest main thing might be pretty. A little easier to do, like you were mentioning with all the fur. So that could be something. Maybe just draw a design of a lion on his vest that he currently has. But no, I don't think that's a spoiler, because we know he's gonna play Kraven, and there's very minimal shown in that image there. So I personally don't think it's too much of a spoiler.
Fair enough. One last question, and then we'll move on to the next topic. Shane, with all this rooted hair on this lion vest, are you gonna wait for in art?
You know it, baby. You know it.
Just making sure. I'm just making sure. Let's move on, Shane. I'm going to stick with you first. So we got another Screen Rant clip here of The Flash, and the title here is Why the Flash CG is so bad. Is the VFX unfinished? Now, I don't want to go into spoilers on The Flash, especially if folks haven't seen it yet. I personally have also not seen it yet, but I have heard people talking a little bit about the effects and how some of them are fantastic. So, for example, the way Ezra interacts with other Ezra apparently is relatively seamless. You actually forget that it's the same actor playing two different sides of the screen. And then I've heard that there are some VFX here in this film that are just terrible. So, Shane, I want to stick with you first. How does a bad critic rating of a film affect your desire to either go see the film or then immediately collect from that film after the fact?
It doesn't affect it at all in terms of collecting.
Okay.
I am the only critic that matters. I don't see any other critics buying my figures, so I do not care what critics say. Now, it may affect my willingness to go see the movie or not, which could, I suppose, you could say, indirectly affect the collecting habits. But no, like the only critic that matters is yourself. Like, so especially when it comes to collecting. It doesn't matter if like it gets a 99% on Rotten Tomatoes or 5-star in every review. You go in, you think it's awful, and then it's like no. So no, I'd say critic ratings, they don't matter in terms of collecting or anything like that. And yeah, I don't really think they matter in terms of my views on movies either, to be quite honest. Like, so no, sorry, I have a short answer for you, Ben. I know what I like and I know what I don't like. And
that's perfect.
Yeah, you're not wrong on the CGI. It was awful.
Okay, so like, because part of me, like, I have this weird roller coaster of emotion when it comes to things like Rotten Tomato scores, right? Do I think critics are overly critical sometimes? Absolutely. There was a movie I watched years ago. You guys can hate on me if you hated this film in the chat, but it was called Lady in the Water. It was an M. Night Shyamalan movie. That got rated, like, I think 12% on Rotten Tomato. Like, critics hated that movie, and I didn't look at critic ratings back in the day. I saw it, and I liked it. It hit home for me. I enjoyed the film. And so that's an example that, to me, has always stuck out in my mind's eye of being like, while it was hated internationally by critics, I still liked it, so why shouldn't I give this a chance? And this particular... Yeah. You hated it? Did you hate it? Have I lost all film credibility?
It's time
okay.
To send you to credit film watching boot camp.
Unbreakable, yeah.
Sure.
What was the other one? God, I see dead people.
Oh yeah, not Science.
Sixth Sense.
Oh, well,
Sixth Sense, yes. Science to some extent. But Lady in the Water is one of the few movies in my life I just turned off. Very few. I just turned it off.
I watched one the other week. That was all right. Oh, it's not one. Old.
Oh, yeah,
That was.
That's right.
Okay.
I liked Lady in the Water. You guys are crazy.
I've
Kevin
never seen
Dorsey, he's with me as well. You're the man, buddy. I appreciate your
liked it
support. Oh, there you go. Okay.
This is the one with the guy who like only exercises one arm.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
That's a part of it.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
I remember that part.
I should start trying to do that at the gym. Thomas, how do critic ratings affect your view of a movie going in, or do they at all? Do you try and not pay attention to them before you'll see a film?
No, I'm going to go see what I want to see. I don't really care what critics say. I prefer to make my own decisions. But now this is coming from somebody who, partially due to a sewage flood in my house and partially due to the pandemic, and I had to redo my basement. So when I did that, I made a home theater down there. So now I actually prefer to watch movies. I mean, I will forego seeing them in the theater to wait for them to be released so I can watch them in my own home basement. Home theater in my basement. Because then that way, I can just kind of lounge about. If I got to go to the bathroom, I can pause the movie and I don't have to miss anything. So, I'm okay with critics not liking them. If I go to it and I like it, then I feel content. I feel like I didn't waste my money. Second thing is that if it comes out on cable, which I'm already paying for, I don't feel like I've lost anything if the movie turns out to not be good. But if the movie turns out to be great and I really enjoyed it, then I'm like, oh wow, I came out ahead. I didn't pay anything extra for it. So yeah, I really, and as far as collecting, it never affects my collecting. I want that Flash suit. because that Flash suit reminds me of the comic book. And that's why I want it. I don't care that Ezra Miller's in it because I'm not exactly a fan of his due to some of his issues in the past, but I want that suit. So it doesn't really affect me because if I want it, I'm going to get it. Same thing with I bought a third party, ordered a third party mirror, and I know that the face is supposed to be Amber Heard, but I don't really care because I'm going to pop off the head and put on a head that I want to be Mira anyhow. So yeah, I mean, I want the representation. I'm more comic book representation. I don't feel any fealty towards making them accurate to a cinematic version, because that's not my version. My version will always be the comics. I just happen to be seeing it on screen, which is what I have dreamed of since the late 70s when I was in junior high school. So yeah, I'm cool with it.
Well said, Classy Thomas, once again, of course. Jay, have you ever collected a figure or anything in your collection from a film that people universally hated but you liked?
Out of my head, no. The one that I have upcoming that would be Morbius. But aside from one that I already own, no, I don't think I currently have one. I'll have to get back to you if I think of one.
Do credit ratings play an impact on your collection? So if you go and see a film and you're kind of lukewarm on it, would you still buy from the film if you liked the figure?
Yeah, I'm with Shane. I agree with that. That if there's something I like, I'm gonna buy it regardless. I'm able to kind of, for the most part, separate the character from the source or the art form. So again, Morbius, I thought that figure looks cool. There's a lot of potential with that figure and just kind of posing with other figures and pairing and things like that. So I thought the movie's okay. Honestly, I didn't think it was like horrible, but that was the one I thought was that looked cool, so I got that one.
Absolutely. Guys, we have 40 people already watching in the chat. If you haven't had a chance to hit the like button, definitely hit it if you can. If you're enjoying the show so far, it's always appreciated, of course. Pete, have you seen this film?
Yeah, I saw it yesterday, actually.
Okay.
I quite enjoyed it. I very much enjoyed Keaton's performance, and that was really why I went to see it.
Heck yeah.
And I was happy with him, and it was good. I was okay at lukewarm on the movie. There was some the CGI was a bit rough, but it was in a very particular recurring section of the movie. I'm not going to spoil anything. And somebody put in here that the director said it was an artistic choice, and I can kind of see that. There are some very cool CGI bits at the back at the back end of the movie. Just think that obviously this is DC's multiverse, so you get to see lots of different versions of different characters, which is cool. Shane, can I just challenge, because I think that obviously if you didn't enjoy the movie, you definitely wouldn't be buying the figure, would you? Because that's one of your triple.
Bring it on! What are you gonna say? Come on, you come at it. Come at me. Yeah, come and have a go if you think you're hard enough. Yeah. Go on, go for it. I know what you're gonna say, but go on.
No, I wasn't. No, I wasn't being. Oh, because you. I don't know. Have you ordered anything from this? You haven't seen it yet, have you? Have you seen it?
I did see it, yeah.
No, I wasn't being specific. I was just like, because I know that just in general, that obviously you wouldn't by your mantra, you wouldn't buy a figure from a movie that you didn't enjoy.
Very, very seldom, yeah. I could count on one hand the ones that are in my collection from movies that I wouldn't recommend to someone. Like, I wouldn't recommend Batman vs Superman yet. I do have the battle damage armored Batman, and I definitely wouldn't recommend Justice League, but I do like Henry Cavill as Superman and a Man of Steel suit.
Yeah,
it's very, very dark, and the head sculpt wasn't great, and yada yada yada. But more often than not, you're right, Jay. I need to like the movie. It's a good way to.
Yeah, and I agree. I have bought figures from movies that I didn't really enjoy, and ultimately they end up on the chopping block. Sweeney Todd is one that springs to mind. Great figure, great accessories, but yeah, I don't really have much love for the source material. So
Kevin Dorsey has a good one here. Hot Toys Wolverine Origins Wolverine. A lot of people didn't love that film, especially with what they did with Deadpool. The video game, though, the PS3 Wolverine Origins video game was an absolute banger. If you guys ever missed that game and you still have a PS3 kicking around, I would recommend it. It still actually holds up, and the gratuitous violence in that game, like you can chop people's legs off, you can chop people in half, like it is so good. It's exactly what a Wolverine game needs to be. I'm really excited for the newest Wolverine game that's should be hopefully around the corner here.
Ben,
soon.
can I just one thing, that last comment about the Wolverine origins even the Wolverine origins.
How'd you like them oranges?
Mess it up, yeah. About them oranges, yeah. Wolverine oranges. Anyway,
X-Men
right.
Origins Wolverine.
So I'm on holidays. So
He's permanently drunk.
Yeah, the Wolverine, living that stereotype. The Wolverine origins. As much as they made an absolute mess of Deadpool, I am so happy that has happened, because then the final scenes in Deadpool 2 got to happen.
Yes.
Like, if you know just the way he went back, I just thought like
Mm-hmm.
recognizing a mistake and just retro fixing it. Love that.
I love that too. Honestly, that made my day.
Before I go on, hey, Pete, I was wondering, did they improve the running in this movie from the Justice League? You know, that little flicking thing that he was doing in Justice League. Did they make up for it?
I just find it very weird the way that they do it.
Evidently they didn't fix it.
What Peter's trying to say is no.
Yeah. Once he's actually running, the effects are quite good, but it's weird the way that he has to strike a very odd pose.
Instead of just saying putting his feet down and saying "ready, set, go" and bang.
Yeah. He kind of has to
doesn't
stand
have
there for
to
about
play.
5 seconds before he can go.
For a man that
charge up.
works in microseconds,
Yeah.
getting into that pose must take a
Absolute
day of
age.
his life.
Yeah. Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Hey, you know what I'm happy about though, Pete, from something you said there. You're happy with the Keaton, bringing him back into the film. I was worried because I was like, if people absolutely hate the film and he's got his reoccurring "Let's get nuts,"
Come on, let's get nuts.
his line, of course, right? And the show is called "Let's Get Nuts." I'm like, I hope I don't have to change the name of the show after this movie.
No, I think from the moment he uttered his first line, it just felt like he was Bruce Wayne again. Like
You hate to see it.
Fallen straight back into it and was just having a great time. So,
I was hoping you were going to say he was Thomas Wayne, so I could say, "Ha, Jose G."
Oh
Hernandez."
well, yeah. I mean,
No spoilers.
yeah.
Just kidding. So then I'll stick with you, Pete, on this. So now that you've seen the film, of course, Hot Toys teased this the other day. Now, we've seen Hot Toys tease images like this in the past that end up stuck in the Hot Toys graveyard, never actually come to fruition. The fact that they've really only shown us a little bit of the body. I mean, when I first looked at this photo, I was like, is this just a movie like picture? Like, is this even a figure that they're showing us, or is this just a movie still? Would you get this Supergirl now, having seen the film?
It's definitely not a movie still, because she is not packed like that. That's like the Feiston Collectors Group have got hold of this. I mean, she's I think it's a real highlight of the movie. She's really good, great character. Doesn't have a lot of lines maybe, but visually and her CGI stuff's all fine. And she looks great in the suit, but she's definitely not. They're definitely a couple of cup sizes too big there, which is, is a very common mistake that a lot of them make, particularly the custom. Just go for the biggest ones you can get. I like the look. I like the look of the outfit and stuff, and she's pretty cool. But yeah, just that's definitely a bit too much. But yeah.
I hate knowing that this figure is already not, what does they say, anatomically correct?
No, definitely not. Definitely not. She's very, very slim, and yeah, that's.
It's a good thing she's Kryptonian, or there's no way she'd be lifting them things. You know what I mean?
Oh,
no, exactly.
Yeah,
No,
she'd have back problems.
It's the power of the yellow sun, guys. Okay.
But
yeah, maybe.
To be fair, like, it might not just be like a gender thing. If you look at the Justice League Superman, his thighs are not anatomically correct.
Oh, they're ridiculous.
And the biceps were notoriously oversized. I have it here. I'm criticizing a figure I literally have.
Yeah.
And, you know, he wasn't able to put his hands flush down by his side, and I think they adjusted that for the black suit version. So it mightn't just be a gender thing, but yeah, it probably is.
Yeah.
That's fair. Feezy, do you think that this is going to live in the Hot Toys graveyard, or do you expect that we will actually see this figure from the film?
I think we'll see this figure. I think there's a lot of potential. I think it sounds like so far from all the rumblings, a lot of people had positive feedback on this figure, on this character from the film, and I agree. I think she did a good job without giving any spoilers. So I think we'll see this one.
That's awesome. Shiny says, how do we know this is supposed to be Supergirl? Exactly. True. I haven't seen the film, so for all I know, there's another Supergirl in there. Hopefully this is the Supergirl. Lane,
It's Michael Keaton.
Yeah.
It's Bruce Wayne.
Yeah, really turned on his head. You weren't expecting that.
Lane, are you going to get this figure if it sees the light of day, good sir?
No.
No way. Okay.
I'm not getting any of the Flash. I don't even know if I'm going to go see the Flash itself. I haven't really been that interested in it. Now, of course, I'm saying that, and as we were just discussing, would you buy a figure or something for a movie not necessarily seen or liked? I already pre-ordered the Bat Cycle from that by itself on Friday, so I'm getting that 6-scale vehicle already for it because I think it's cool. I didn't need to see the movie. I went, I like that. I want it. So I pre-ordered it. Also, the fact that using points and other stuff, I'm only spending like $175 on it helps. But
that's fair.
Normally, I'm in the same boat there. I got to at least like the character in the movie, or at least something visually about them that makes me want to buy the figure. But I don't think this one's going to get made. If Flash is going how it's going, right? Unless DC, as the license holder, really puts it to Hot Toys, like, we want this figure out, like this merchandise out. So they kind of, but I've never heard Warner Brothers supposed to be necessarily quite as like Disney or something like that with their stuff. So who knows?
Absolutely. And I mean, if you guys want to save money, I did see that Robert Meyer Burnett actually got the Barbie doll version of this character. And it was significantly cheaper than the Hot Toys version will ever be. One last question for you, Shane. Is this a candidate for rooted hair, or would you rather see sculpted hair on this figure if and when it sees the light of day?
No, just keep it simple, Hot Toys. You're getting really, really good at the sculpted hair. Just do the sculpted hair. This is not just like if they did rooted hair on this, even if it was with that wool, even if they gave us a decent price on it, it is short hair. And I don't trust them to do it right, to be quite honest with you.
Really bushy
They're
all of a sudden.
really, really good at the sculpted hair. And I just want to go back, like, I agree with Pete on basically everything he said about the movie. For me, Keaton is the best part of this. You take that out of here, it's another DCU movie. No spoilers. I thought this girl, Sasha Calle, I thought she was really, really good in it. Yeah, it's great that this is coming because I know people are kind of expecting this, or, well, not expecting it. A lot of people want this figure. But yeah, I think just play it safe, Hot Toys. You're really good at the sculpted hair.
For sure.
Stick with it.
I haven't seen the film yet, but I would be excited about just having a Supergirl representation in the collection. I also really do like some of the stills I've seen of the outfit itself. I like how the red kind of bleeds into the blue. I think that looks really really good, really crispy. So I would definitely like to see it. Blue Tattoo is here. Hello, everyone. Good to see you here, buddy. Thanks for joining in. Jose G. Hernandez says, I heard they may do rooted wool hair for this Supergirl. So, I mean, if it's done well, I'm happy to consider it. I disagree with you, Shane, that of course it may get kind of bushy depending on how that actually goes. Robert Online here says, I like to see that pre-Dracula movie coming out, and where he's on the boat trailer looks great. I have not seen that yet, so I will have to take a look at that after the show. Guys, let's switch gears a little bit here, because this week we did have an Exo-6 fail. Now, some people would say that there's been many Exo-6 fails, but there's also a lot of people who really like Exo-6 because they're huge Star Trek fans. And for all you guys know, Pete and I specifically, I don't know about the rest of the panel, so we'll dive into it, are pretty big Star Trek fans. And recently, we saw that Harry Kim came to my to my dismay, I want to say. I didn't love the way that the figure looked specifically. But we got an official Exo-6 post yesterday, and it says here, it seems that space-time continuum is dead set against Harry Kim getting a promotion. So what we're seeing here is his promotional clips on the side, or his pips, I should say. Traditionally, Ensign Kim is known as an ensign throughout the whole show of Voyager. There is a couple episodes where they kind of tease the fact that he's going to get a promotion, and then there is a future episode where you actually get to see him as a captain. But for the majority of the show, he stays an ensign. But something that Exo-6 had said that they would do is add different pips to the box that comes with this Harry Kim. Turns out, based on what it says here, sounds like they accidentally did not make it into the box. So what they're saying here is that basically if you've bought a Harry Kim from Exo-6, it's like directly from Exo-6, unfortunately, you can reach out to them and they will send you the Lieutenant Pips, it sounds like. Hopefully at no charge, but I don't think that they've specified that specifically. But what you'd have to do is actually rip the Ensign Pip off of the outfit, and they will not replace the shirt if you pull off that ensign pip and wreck it. So something to consider. For me, it's not necessarily a deal breaker. I didn't get this Ensign Kim in my collection because I haven't decided to buy the Voyager line. I haven't found it to be all that great. But what do you guys think of this? Is this something that you think is a true fail from Exo-6, being the fact that they kind of promised this would be in there and then they forgot it? Or do you think it's not really that big of a deal? Pete, what do you think?
So this is your favourite, the sculpted butter.
The sculpted butter, Harry Kim.
Love it. I mean, I don't know. I'm not a Voyager fan, so I don't know why. But I think that's a bad idea. I mean, obviously, that's some tailoring there. That's the whole thing with Exo-6 is the costumes are brilliant. Some of the head sculpts have been, a bit off. But yeah, I certainly wouldn't want to be cutting that off or ripping that off or whatever.
Can you imagine?
I just think that's, if they're not giving you some way to swap them out, if it was magnetized or something like that, that's fine. But yeah, to be saying, well, actually, it's not really intended to be swapped out. So yeah, I just think I am still interested in Exo-6 because I know that we're very likely to get a Wrath of Khan pre-order this year. I know that's one of Nanji's priorities, and as a fan of the older Star Trek, it's been woefully, unrepresented at the moment. You've got the Admiral Kirk and the Colin R. Spock, which were decent, but not the versions that I'd want on my shelf. So yeah, bring on the Wrath of Khan. And I think they will be bangers because there's a lot of work going into those, and I think they're the key to getting a lot of people back on board with Exo-6, because I think that a lot of the hype has died down because a lot of their recent stuff hasn't really hit the mark.
Absolutely. Well, and Robert Online here says, I'm getting kind of sick of Exo-6. No Locutus, no Trek 2, no Klingon Krug, just D-list characters. And I mean, I see both sides of it. On one hand, I'm happy that we're getting to see a fulfilled bridge crew finally from them, right? They've been kind of spreading themselves a little bit thin. It's nice that they'll have kind of a Voyager line polished off pretty soon here. The Neelix looks like it's actually pretty good. I did like the Tuvok, and I thought that the 7 of 9 was relatively passable. I did not like the Janeway. I didn't love the Chakotay with his weirdly crossed eyes. They've teased a B'Elanna Torres, but she kind of looks a little on the soft side. To me, my concern is that the Voyager line has been actually produced by almost like an entirely separate entity. Like, some of these Exo-6 figures have been fantastic, and some of them have been pretty soft. Tom Paris was also announced this past week as he was put up for pre-order, but he was also put up for an immediate release. So I think they already had a certain amount of them already made, and then they put up the rest for a pre-order to try and gain a few extra numbers. And this is how Tom Paris came out. And when we talk about sculpted gut butter Harry Kim, I'm kind of like, Tom Paris isn't any better. Thomas, Classy Thomas, are you a Star Trek buddy or a Star Trek fan? And And did you ever really watch Star Trek Voyager? What do you think of Tom Paris here?
I really don't know much about Voyager. I watched the original Star Trek, but I don't know much about Exo-6 or these characters. But the one thing I can comment on is that I really don't like the idea of them telling collectors that you can take this thing and you can replace it yourself, but if you damage it, that's on you. That's not good customer service. And I would feel comfortable doing it because I do a lot of kit bashing and I do a lot of work, with needle and thread anyhow, so I would not feel intimidated by it. But everybody doesn't want to do that. Everybody doesn't want to take the risk of damaging the figures that they paid $200 something for. Yeah. So I would feel against that. But looking at this right here, now who is this dude right here?
So his name is Tom Paris. He is the pilot for the ship, the Star Trek Voyager ship.
I see a resemblance. But the sculpt is pretty soft to me. But I mean, I think you can look at it and you can tell what they intended, but I don't think it was executed quite as well as it could have been.
It does look a little bit like Chandler for Friends, by the way. I can see that.
Yeah, I can see that.
Not the season where he's got like the pencil mustache though. That was pretty rough. So, Feezy, I can't remember. Did you say you're a Star Trek guy?
I am not, sir.
No. Okay. Well, then
yeah.
That is fair. Shane or Lane, you guys tell me. Star Trek fans?
Yo.
All right, Lane.
Up till Enterprise.
All right, Lane, you're up.
Almost every episode.
You're up next. Tell me about your feeling on Tom Paris here, or the pips, missing pips for Harry Kim. What are your thoughts on that?
Tom Butterworth here just looks terrible.
Yeah, it's a total rough thing.
This I think the accessories they've included with the tricorders and see, I got it right. I said tricorder right the first time. And the phaser, all that stuff. Man, I'm sorry, I'm just seeing I'm like, oh my god, it's like 80s, 90s Trek weapons, how they're supposed to look. How they look in freaking Star Trek Voyager Elite Force that I've just been playing the old PC game recently because I got it on GOG. Sorry, sidebar there. But great. I think the uniform, all that stuff was great. But that head sculpt, yeah. Okay, I don't like it. The other thing I'll say with the pips, this is reminding me of that, was it months ago? Last year, maybe? When the CEO put out his, hey, we kind of screwed up and we don't bother trying to request replacements for Admiral Kirk from the original motion picture because we don't have any more.
Yeah, we destroyed the mold. So we went in with grenades and just went boom, they're all gone. That's it.
That would, to me, that was one of the dumbest things. I know we always say we want more transparency about stuff, but of course sometimes being transparent means the bad business things happening. That was one of the dumbest things I've ever heard someone say, at least in collecting wise, for business, saying, hey, we're so dumb, we destroyed our stuff. Oops. So there's a zero way. Well, if you got a broken arm, you need to put some masking tape on it. But
that's fair.
Yeah, the pip thing, I would ask why you want to buy that Harry Kim, because I think that Harry Kim is just maybe one step slightly above this Tom Paris. But I understand why you would if it's the only way you can get it. So it's like the only way to get it. It's skip. But
well, and I'll interrupt you too, Lane, too, because I have with the Ben Thomas show, I typically do kind of my preview thoughts on different Exo-6 figures, kind of as they come out. People can get my thoughts on it if they're interested in that. And I have had tons of comments, mostly on Star Trek videos. They're actually some of my most commented channel videos, and I think it's because Star Trek collectors are pretty passionate folks, and there are a lot of people that still really liked the Harry Kim and still really like even this Tom Paris. I don't particularly think that they're great, especially when we've seen some of the others. I've got the First Contact data. I love it. What worries me is what we're going to see from the Next Generation line. I really want a well-developed Next Generation line. That is my favorite Star Trek that exists. They've done some great Deep Space Nine characters. they gotta do next gen good, and don't do it dirty like this. But you have to recognize that there are people out there that still do like this.
Star Trek figures. I guarantee the next gen main.
It's one of the most popular. Right?
Those are the ones they can. I think the original, when they get the actual main crew in like their natural look for the original series, not Wrath of Khan or other ones. I think they need to get those removed right. But when they do the entire bridge crew in their old '60s outfits and Next Generation, those two sets, however many they're gonna do, they have to nail those. Like
absolutely,
they have to nail those. But those are.
Absolutely. Hannah here says Barbie's Ken from the 90s. Love to see it. Damn it, Spock here though. Again, one of my contributors on the Star Trek video says the Harry Kim has arrived in the UK and looks better than the promo photos. So again, that's one of those folks that's out there that is excited to have it. What were you going to say, Shane?
Sorry, Ben. Yeah, what I was saying is is it possible that because Star Trek is just a phenomenon. Like it's it's huge. The fandom is massive, and like you said, very very passionate. Is it possible that a lot of the comments you're getting in your videos comes from Star Trek fans who kind of collect Star Trek stuff as opposed to exclusively 6 scale? So maybe you got a lot of people who just collect Star Trek stuff and they want these type of figures in their collection for their Star Trek collection, but they mightn't necessarily be 6 scale collector and know what else is out there. You know what I mean? So maybe definitely. To some level, ignorance is bliss because you just don't know how good the head sculpts can get when done properly. Just a thought, maybe.
Absolutely a possibility. I mean, Exo-6 is certainly not Hot Toys, right? And they don't claim to be. I think that's the big thing. They do call these museum grade figures, though. And I mean, I guess if you think of a museum, you can think of Madame Tussauds as a museum of wax figures. So I mean, it can still technically classify as that. I think one of the big things when it comes to Exo-6 that I've noticed with the fan community is whenever any feedback is provided to the developer, he tends to kind of jump on people a little bit and kind of tell them, well, take it or leave it. Nobody else is doing it, so take it or leave it. And so the fact that Star Trek collectors out there and fans have been so starved of anything like a 6 scale Star Trek really since QMX, and even they were kind of hit and miss at times. I do think that people are kind of just taking what they can get. And let's be honest, like somebody said in the chat, this is a bit of a D-list character in comparison to Bridge Captains and all of those. We'll probably never see anybody ever make a Tom Paris again, even if another 6 scale company takes over the line. So at this point, this is the best you're going to get. It just sucks to be a little bit held hostage to these releases from the company itself.
Hey Ben,
Oh.
Sorry, Lane, you froze on us, buddy.
Okay.
No. We'll get Lane back here in a second. Yeah, no worries. Let's move on, guys. So I put up a video yesterday, over the weekend, regarding the Mondo's Skeletor Timed Edition that just was solicited. And being the Timed Edition, right now you have from June 20th to June 30th to lock this bad boy in. Now, technically, this is Skeletor 2.0. We've had Skeletor in the past. But I gotta say, for Mondo, this is looking real good. I've been trying to avoid getting into the Masters of the Universe lineup, but all of the figures so far have been so good that sometimes all it takes is one figure to, kick your ass over the slide. For me, this might be that figure. But Pete, I'll start with you first. I know you don't collect a ton of Mondo out there, but I know that you did, I think, have an appreciation for Masters of the Universe now or when you were younger. What do you think of this Skeletor? And is this something that you would actually consider, even if you haven't collected the rest of the line?
It does look really good. I think, like we've talked before, I think that for me, this sort of figure is always best at a smaller scale, a 6-inch, 7-inch scale. I used to get the original He-Man figures back in the early 80s, and I loved them. And just like there's some really weird characters, like is it called Buzz Off or something? There's a one that's like a bee, and they were really good. And then obviously there's been various different classics and then the revelations and stuff. I like the fact that we can get much more detailed versions of things that they couldn't do 40 years ago. But yeah, I don't think I'd want to collect them in 6 scale. I like the little dragon guy that he comes with.
Yeah, definitely.
And were they interchangeable kind of, like they're like breastplates, are they, something you can put on him? So I don't know enough about what those represent, but it looks really good, and you get a ton of stuff, which is really nice, because a lot of Hot Toys stuff and that is so bare bones these days. It's nice to get like 4 faces and all the the other bits and pieces. Yeah. No,
well, and even all the jaws on these skulls
Yeah.
actually articulate,
Okay.
which is cool.
Yeah.
So you
Yeah,
can
yeah.
give him multiple different expressions depending on how you want to set it up. I'd be curious to see a competition of collectors out there that think of different ways to actually display this character, because it has so many different display options, including a wired posable fabric cape with a fabric hood, as well as a PVC hood if you don't like the fabric hood. Comes with all of these different hands, the weapons, like you said, the articulated little like dinosaur there. Like it's pretty freaking cool. Now, Shane, this comes in at $265 for pre-order. Is Masters of the Universe something that you liked as a kid, and would you consider jumping into the Mondo line for this figure? As cool as
200 and what?
65.
Are these like Canadian or?
Nope, that is American pricing.
Oh my god, no. Look, I grew up in the 80s. Turtles, Ghostbusters, Transformers. Yeah, He-Man was a big deal as well. I remember vaguely having some He-Man figures and stuff like that, but I don't think unlike the other things I just mentioned, I don't think I've given it a second thought until this moment. So not for me. But I was surprised by the price. That's pretty steep. That's the price of a kind of a Hot Toy, isn't it?
It's getting pretty close to that. I think the big thing here is if this one just comes absolutely packed. Now that 265 references this exclusive version, so everything you see in the kind of dotted line there is all part of the exclusive accessories. If you didn't want to get that, obviously the price is a little.
And when they shut the window, it's shut.
They shut it, and
Right.
typically these do sell out. And then on the aftermarket, these things typically skyrocket, as Eddie Rodriguez is saying here in the chat.
Yeah.
Like, absolutely the case. They've had other releases recently, or announcements, things that haven't quite come yet. Some people have the Battle Cat now. The Battle Cat, while being an amazing figure and honestly a centerpiece, I think, in anybody's collection, that came in over $500. And so it was like, holy God, like that is getting
I
really
respect
expensive.
that, the way they're like, this is the window, and then they shut it down. You've had your chance, and then they shut it down. I do respect that. No, definitely not for me. But while you were talking there, Battle Cat, I did have the Battle Cat and the little saddle and the He-Man for him. That's a deep cut. You've unlocked the core memory there.
There you go. There you
But
go.
no.
Now, this figure also has been redesigned based on what the website says. So, unlike some of the past issues of the He-Man figure that had a bit of a narrow stance and a poorly articulated waist, I guess the articulation here has been improved, as well as the widening of the stance. So, over its 1.0 counterpart, this does sound like it's a bit of an upgrade. Now, something, though, that I will highlight to you, Shane, there is that even though they typically do have these windows and that they close them, absolutely, and these, hit secondary, Mondo is notorious for re-releases. So while they do change some of the accessories that they come with, if you happen to miss one, there's almost always a chance that if you wait long enough, they'll reissue another version again down the line. Now, Lane, you froze on us, buddy, mid-sentence there with regards to Star Trek. Was there anything else that you wanted to kind of quickly add before you give your take on the Skeletor here?
I was just going to ask, this is something I'll ask in back thing, but if do you think we're going to get Picard figures before we get the other two lines we were talking about first?
I mean, it wouldn't totally surprise me just because of how popular Picard Season 3 was. So right now, if you want to capitalize on the money you can make from that season, they'd be smart to honestly bump those up the schedule. Except that people like me are still waiting for their Locutus that was supposed to come, I think, 3 months ago at this point, who still has not arrived. So I'm like,
Yeah, no, sorry, I don't want to get too to separate it from that.
For sure.
Go.
I was just gonna say, but what do you think of the Skeletor? Is this something in the Mondo line
I
you
used to
consider bringing
own,
in your
like,
collection?
when I was a young kid, because I was old enough when I was smacking my parents on, like, saying, please buy me this. Other than my Transformers and I needed Optimus Prime, I had Skeletor. I had like 20 or 30 Masters of the Universe figures when I was growing up. I love the Skeletor. I won't lie. I think the He-Man looked cool. The She-Ra looked cool. Absolutely, this looks amazing to me. But I have zero interest in picking it up. For some, I don't know why. Maybe it's because I bought smaller scale when I was, when they had the big arms and the muscles and all ridiculous, basically same body, so they could just make them easier. I think he looks cool, but I don't like the idea of them in 6 scale. It almost like what was being talked about by Pete earlier. It's too big. I've seen like the She-Ra and stuff actually, and she looks cool. But I guess I would bring this up, like the Harley Quinn they had come up. I hated the joints on that, and I don't see why is the difference that I not be okay with this on this figure for a $265 figure that you were just talking about for this, and it's $240 or whatever for the regular edition's like that much. But then that Spider-Man $20.99 that has the joint showing and stuff, and I know Justin's preview said that the way it's designed actually doesn't look like it's composed, but is it okay? Why is it okay to accept these exposed joints on these figures, which are priced in Hot Toys range, and they're 6 scale, so they're the same scale. Now, maybe your expectation for Mondo is different than Hot Toys, but this is the same thing with the Spider-Man $20.99. So why couldn't we go? Maybe now their mandate may be posability over the design or whatever, of the character to be able to match or something. But I would have the same kind of conclusion with that. If I was going to buy a Masters of the Universe thing, I'd buy like that 6 scale He-Man on the Battle Cat statue coming from PCS or something that's a big centerpiece thing. That it's not super huge, but it's definitely big. And I'd be like, put that there, ready, set, go. That's what I would get.
That is fair. No, well said, Lane. I agree with you on most of that, to be fully honest. I have the 7-inch Batman the Animated Series figures, and I love them. I love the color. I think they look perfect to my memory of the cartoon. I love it. And I always thought that if I got a 6 scale version of those characters, that I would also want to immediately then go and buy everything that they ever made. And then Mondo Toys gave us the Batman the Animated Series figures, and I haven't bought a single one yet because I feel like they're better scaled in the 7-inch line as opposed to, the 12-inch 6 scale representations of those characters. Feezy, are you a Masters of the Universe fan, or is there another line you would like to see Mondo tackle that maybe they haven't already?
Yeah, I'm not a big Masters of the Universe fan, but yeah, like you and Lane, I had some figures, maybe not as much as Lane, but I had some when I was younger, and definitely He-Man and Skeletor. And yeah, I'm with you. When I saw this, I was like, man, but I did already get the previous version, the one from Revelation that came out, so I was a little I don't want to say disappointed, but I was kind of upset that, man, I saw this one, because if I saw this first, I would have gotten this one. Because this is awesome, but this is, from what I was reading, is based on the comics and the toys. Obviously you can tell from that head there, the 80s toys had that type of head sculpt there, that squishable rubber head.
It's like a Halloween mask.
I have the Revelation Skeletor, and then I also got She-Ra, the deluxe one, and that one that's a beautiful figure. But also to add to what you were saying earlier about the Time Edition. So the Timed Edition, as you pulled up earlier, has all that exclusive, and they will release the Standard Edition, which doesn't come with all that exclusive stuff. So that's what they've been doing, recently with all their the figures. So that the Wolverine, the She-Ra, the He-Man, they had this Timed Edition first, and they come out with the less expensive Standard Edition figures. But to answer the second part of your question, I think I agree with, I forget who was it said in the chat, Thundercats. I think potentially I would probably buy.
Ooh, that's cool.
That would be a good, because I do have the Super 7 ones, and I collect multiple scales, right, not just 6 scale. And so I personally like the fact that they're coming out with options in 6 scale, because that's something that for you fellow 1/12 collectors out there, I'm sure you know there's a lot of manufacturers, right? They all focus on some, no pun intended, focus, Shane, on some aspect of the collectible, right? Mezco has, they're like mini Hot Toys with cloth goods and fabrics. Your Revoltech, Amazing Yamaguchi focus on really dynamic poses, although they're hard to pose. And then you have Mafex and Fig Arts are kind of in between. One focuses probably more on realistic and versus anime characters. So we don't have that with 6 scale, right? It's mostly been Hot Toys, and I understand there's a lot of people who want the realism, so they go for the 6 scale realism in that. But I personally like that they're coming out with other options like these Mondo figures, and now I guess if you want to call it in art the premium higher quality figures, right? So we're starting to see more variety in 6 scale that we didn't have before.
Absolutely. Well said, Feezy. I saw here a couple of different comments that popped up to me. So I wish Mondo would do Superman animated series from Robert Online. Totally agree. I mean, it seems like a logical next step, honestly, especially with their Batman the animated series. Pete in the chat himself says Centurions. Or what was the other one you said here, Pete? Brave Star? I'm not familiar with Brave Star.
Brave Star, I remember that.
I'm not familiar with that one.
I remember Brave Star, yeah.
Judge JB and whatever that little mole guy and his
Pete's talking
people
my
were,
language.
Tex Hex.
That's awesome. I will have to look that up. I have not.
Yeah,
I've
seen
heard of Brave
some.
Star.
You can find the original movie that was like supposed to be the prelude to the series that got a short, even though it's kind of almost a complete story. Brave Star, the Legend. You can find it on YouTube. It's like an hour and
We'll check that
40-minute movie or so, 30-minute.
Cool.
Strength of the Bear, Speed of the Puma, Eyes of the Hawk, and Ears of the Wolf. They are his powers.
You describing Ben?
Yeah.
Obviously.
Just what Lane said there about things being available on YouTube. We were talking about this, I think, last week, Ben. Mm-hmm. The entire 1986 Generation 1, Transformers the movie is on YouTube. And I watched it in its entirety about a week ago, and the quality is like spot on. Like, so if anyone is looking for that, just cool. It's all there.
Good movie.
All on YouTube, you said. Right on. Very cool. I will check that out. Good suggestion there, Lane, as well. For everybody listening on the replay or in live, let us know in the comments on this video down below. What is a figure line you would like to see Mondo tackle, and what would be one you would invest that kind of money in? I would love to hear from you guys. Now, let's move on with the getting nuts aspect of the show here, guys, because this popped up in my feed this week, and we are looking at, of course, the Present Toys Police Robot, aka the T-1000, and I just recently pre-ordered ordered the battle damaged Terminator from, I believe it was Present Toys. I'd have to look back now, actually, but it's fantastic. I'm really excited about getting that one in hand. And the T-1000 has always been an absolute badass of a villain. He's really intimidating. Judgment Day as a film is one of my favorite sequel films of all time. Pete, when you saw this pop up in your feed this week, what were your thoughts? Is this something you think you might actually bring into your collection?
I didn't see it come in my feed. No.
Oh, well, you hate to say it. You're so honest. You're so freaking. Go ahead.
I'm just thinking about Brave Star now. Look, I mean, Judgment Day is a great movie, and I watched it a lot when it came out and everything, but I don't know, for some reason or other, I've had various Terminators in the collection. They've always made their way out, and I don't know why. I'm a massive Arnie fan, but I don't know. I think that there's something about them that I don't. I suppose I don't. Because he's playing a robot. Maybe I don't empathise with the character, and I don't have that sort of maybe emotional attachment. So I mean, it looks decent. It's going to be a good price. Present Toys are putting out some good stuff. There's been one or two bits and pieces that aren't quite great on them, but as a whole, I mean that recent Terminator they've done, minus the head sculpt, which you could say is a fairly major part of a 1/6 scale figure, I think everything was brilliant. And you can, there are obviously options out there to swap those out. I think the battle damage one is looking really good. I don't mind this. I think that the likeness isn't too bad. You know, so
Yeah.
I think, I would definitely have it. I'd be quite happy to have it in the collection if I was putting together a T2 display, definitely.
Heck yeah. May the North be with you. Says, the Robert Patrick isn't quite as iconic without the crowbar hands. Very true. That's a pretty cool scene in that film. Yeah, 100%. I can see it. Jay, let's go with you next, Feezy. Let's just say Hot Toys notices Present Toys is making all of these Terminator figures again. Do you think that they're going to revisit the well, or do you think that time has passed for Hot Toys? What are your thoughts?
I want to say I don't think so, because like others have mentioned in other previous streams, there's already a backlog that Hot Toys has with other IPs, mostly the Disney ones, of course. So I don't think they'll, unless, I don't know. So that's the thing, right? That's always a gamble with these third-party figures that are kind of, from left field. Well, this isn't really from left field because we have the Terminators, but some figures that Hot Toys hasn't done in a while. What if there's some sort of anniversary or another movie or something related that comes out and Hot Toys then revisits it, and we're like, oh, what, out of nowhere, they come out with this. And so it's always a gamble, right? Because we obviously can't tell what they're going to do. But I want to say they won't. Hot Toys won't, and this is a good option for those who want some sort of representation. Yeah, it's not the best. I'm kind of going back to what you were saying about that Exo-6 figure, right? It's the choices that we have. Do we want an okay, decent figure or nothing at all, right? Just kind of, those are the options that we have. I personally, I'm going to get this because, I'm with you. Terminator 2, awesome movie, one of my favorites. And I would like to have this representation. And I think I'm going to get that T800 battle damage as well to pair with this one. And so I think I'm going to get it. I'm going to take the gamble, thinking Hot Toys is not going to do it. So that could just be me.
That's fair. It does look like he has a crowbar hand in this image, by the way.
Yeah, definitely. What's the difference? There's a exclusive gift, which is that middle head sculpt. It doesn't look a lot different to the one on the left, just a little bit paler. Is it meant to be
a little paler.
Is it meant to be a different expression?
I don't know. That's a good question. It does look almost the same, eh? With the exception of the skin tone, it is definitely like...
One of them that could be a mistake, because I'm pretty sure... Isn't one of these sculpts supposed to be split open? Didn't one of these... Anyone see the
I don't know if I've seen
images?
the open one. Let us know in the chat, guys. Have you guys seen a split open head sculpt for this this figure?
Could that other head sculpt maybe be it's lighter, because that could be like from some of the scenes of Director's Cut where you see him, the T1000 starts having showing his liquid metal and being lighter, some of the issues from all the damage he's taking it. That could be
maybe. I mean, I feel like that would be a bit of a deeper cut, though. Like if somebody came and saw this figure in your collection, he's just a little on the pale side. He just looks a little ill, doesn't he? I would be like, oh, he looks like he's about to go into liquid metal form.
Like my coloration, but I mean, it just. I mean, that's what I could be thinking, is because they did add some parts to like the director's cut of the movie where you see all the damage and breakdown and stuff, where he skin color starts flickering in and out and stuff like that.
Yeah.
With metal. So maybe to save money on another head sculpt, maybe that's what they could have done.
Absolutely. That's possible. Oh, did we lose you again, Lane? You're good? Robert Online here says, Mars Toys can do a Kyle Reese and a Sarah from the first film. Absolutely, they could. F. Wellington, I don't think they'll do it, but I would love a revisited tech noir version of the T800 by Hot Toys. That would be really, really cool. Thomas, do you think Hot Toys might revisit this after seeing all the popularity of this line, or do you think that time has passed?
It's possible. I mean, Hot Toys hasn't been above doing it in the past, and I think that sometimes when they see collectors going to these third-party companies because they're actually reintroducing them, I think they're starting to see that, oh wow, there's still a market for this, and they might wind up doing a re-release or something. But I mean, it's possible, but I'm not sure exactly how popular this particular figure was for Hot Toys at the time to know whether or not they would want to invest the time or the money into doing it. But I do think they did a really nice job on this. I have the quarter scale one from some third party place, which did a really good job. But I really am digging this. I doubt that I would probably buy it though, unless it was like, if there was a really, really great deal and it was free shipping, I would definitely consider that. But I think when I'm looking at all the other things that I've kind of purchased now and some of my other priorities, I don't think that I could fit this in the priority pool. But it's a very very good. I mean, I think they did a fine job. The tailoring looks good. I like the different effects pieces that they have with it. It's kind of a banging picture. I mean, banging figure.
Well said, buddy. I agree with you on that. To be honest, this has gotten my juices flowing. I'm kind of excited. With the battle damage version that I've got, I think this could be a really good complementary piece. Shane, I've got 2 quick questions for you. First of all, are you waiting for InArt to make the rooted hair John Connor? And second, would you get this to complement the recent Hot Toys Terminator you finally got, that Grail in your collection?
I'm waiting on InArt to make everything. We all know they're gonna get the Star Wars license. They're gonna complete every line. What was the second question?
87 years later, would you get this as a complementary piece to your Hot Toys Terminator now that you've got that Grail in hand?
You know, the original T1000 popped up on adverts.ie during the year from the same guy who sold me the T800 from the first movie, and it was €300, and I probably could have got it for $275, and he said it was mint in box. But having watched multiple reviews over the years, I just don't think the original, for me, is worth getting. I think the Terminators hold up, but I don't think the T1000 holds up personally.
That's fair.
Secondly, this one gives the Hot Toys one a run for its money. And I commented on our group chat on Dark Knight Buddies asking Joao Breda, did he have any shots of this? Because at the time, this one was the only one available. But someone, I can't find them now, but someone dumped him onto some 6-scale a Facebook group. And I had a good look through them. And I don't think I'm going to go with this either. I think that the best bit here is the fully battle damaged one with the hole in the face and all, I presume they're magnetic bits that you can swap on. But no, I'm not going to do it. Feezy said something. He kind of said, do you want something or do you want the best out there or something like that? And I think it was like, do you want something or do you want nothing? I'm like, I want it done right or I want nothing. I'd rather have nothing on my shelf than a figure I'm looking up going, you don't fit in here, buddy. And I think that's the way I look at this, to be quite honest. Like, I just think, like, I'm not waiting for InArt, not waiting for Hot Toys. I'm just comfortable going, yeah, you're not there. I'm going to reserve a space in the shelf there for something else. It mightn't be a companion piece, but something else that's like, yeah, you're hitting the spot, whatever that may be. So no, I think I'm out on this one.
That's interesting, because that kind of goes back to even what we were talking about with Exo-6 earlier, people feeling like, well, this is the only option, so I guess I'll buy it. But, there's always that element of vote with your wallet. There's also always that element of, well, I've always wanted this piece, so what do? I want to make a stance and vote with my wallet, but if not enough people do that, then they're still going to make it anyways, and I'm just going to miss out on it again. On the other hand, if you just fold and buy it just as it is and never provide that feedback,
true,
you're never going to see those improvements from the companies, true, right?
But when the engine light goes on in your car 4 weeks out from Christmas and you need money, you're not going to pick that Grail off the shelf and go, I'm going to sell you. You're going to try and get rid of everything. This will be the first to go. So again, purely from my own experience, that I don't think this would survive, to be honest.
Fair. Robot Police is the first to get the slash.
Call it the T1001. Call it the T2000. What were you thinking?
Somebody pointed out that here it says Robot Police. I think it was Shiny, and then it also says Police Robot on other solicitations. So
yeah,
I mean, they can just have fun with it, I suppose, at this point. So
I love the way you just said solicitation.
Yeah. What, did I mess it up? No. Let's get nuts.
One's the regular ripoff of Terminator, and the other one's the Roger Corman partially adult ripoff of Terminator.
No doubt. Let's stick with the fun here, guys, because this also popped up from Thunder Toys. We're looking at the Eddie Brock Venom version from from Spider-Man 3, technically, from the Tobey Maguire universe. And this made me actually physically feel a little bit of pain and laugh out loud. And then I was like, but maybe I'll buy it anyways. Because I've always been a big Venom fan. I just happen to love the character. And while I do like newer versions of Venom and what we're seeing from the solicitation of the PS5 video game that's coming and all of the things, this Venom still was one of my favorite parts of Spider-Man 3 back in the day when that Tobey Maguire movie came out. So, Jay, I'll start with you, good sir. What are your thoughts on Thunder Toys? Did you buy the Spider-Man that came out about a year ago, or consider it when we didn't have that Tobey Maguire Spider-Man from Hot Toys yet? And would you get this Eddie Brock Venom to go along with it?
I did not get the Spider-Man. I don't think I have any Thunder Toys figures, but I wasn't really big on this character, to be honest. This wasn't my best representation of Venom. If I were to get a Venom, it'd probably be the Tom Hardy version. I'm actually
Tom
holding
Hardy,
out
for sure.
Tom Hardy. I'm actually holding out to see if they make the PS5 Venom. I think that would probably be my go-to, because I currently don't have a 1/6 representation yet of Venom. So for that character, I prefer the comic version, as close as you can get to it. So I think they may do that with the game. So we'll see. Yeah, I think I'm gonna pass on this one. I do like that the way they did that head sculpt there with not Topher Grace, how they have the symbiote coming over his face. That looks pretty cool.
It does look kind of cool. It is. And, it's interesting. F. Wellington here says, Topher Grace, worst casting ever. You know what? I liked Topher Grace back in the day. He is a little small and wiry to be a Venom, for sure. But Nick _ collectibles is in the chat as well and says, I love this. And actually, Nick, I added this to the show sheet today because I saw how excited you were for this Venom to begin with. Pete,
I'm happy for Nick.
Pete, do you like the Topher Grace Venom from Spider-Man 3? Would you ever consider buying this if it was the right price? Or is this like a total skip for somebody like yourself?
Nah, not for me. Is he just normal, like 1/6 scale size as well? He's not.
Yep.
Yeah. To be honest, I think I found that movie quite forgettable. I can't really remember a lot about it. So yeah, definitely not something that I would be looking to add to my collection. I mean, it looks okay. But yeah, it's not the best figure I've seen.
For sure. It does seem a little bit oddly proportioned, I will say. Like in some of these photos, the head looks like a little large, like maybe he's growing into himself a bit, but clearly they're trying to use a standard figure body underneath.
Yeah.
I did see that people liked this Spider-Man, this Thunder Toys one. I mean, again, this is before the pre-order went out for the Hot Toys one from No Way Home. So, I think if you like the films, if you are a Venom or a symbiote fan, this could still add to the collection. There was another third-party company at one point that did a Tom Hardy head sculpt Venom, kind of like half transition symbiote, and I thought that looked like okay, considering. Shane, would you ever consider picking this up from that third film? Did you like that film and the representation of Venom back then?
Pete, tell him. Please tell him, Pete. He's kidding me here. No,
I have to ask. I could be wrong. I don't want to assume your hate, good sir. Okay. What if you were?
Oh no, hate's a strong word.
This is actually my favorite character
hate leads
of all
to
time.
anger, and anger leads to guilt. No. There's definitely no hate. I grew up with the Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies. But even back when I was watching them as a kid, I was like, I just don't think they're good. And I know people in the chat hate me now. And Spider-Man 2 is the greatest thing since sliced bread, but I don't think it is. And I definitely don't think the third one is. The third one just... No. God, no.
Third one, yes.
No.
Yeah,
third.
Nobody likes the third one.
The third film. I don't believe it was
the third film.
So, yeah. See, I'm taking a piss out of myself. That's the way it works.
You got to. That's the way to go. Shiny says, here comes the pizza scooter, I think, with the deluxe. You'll love to see it. Thomas, would you, if it was the right price, put this Venom in your collection? Because you come with some pretty unique figures to Pose Wars sometimes. I could see this coming to your collection potentially, but tell me.
No, this one I'm not really feeling, because see, I've got the actual Venom from Hot Toys, and I have the Venom that they did from that third party group a while back. and that was pretty good. The one that I think had the Spider-Man. Wait a minute, did it? No, it didn't. It was Venom, the other one. Now, I did get the Spider-Man from Thunder Toys, but I got the deluxe one because it had that great gargoyle base, and I pretty much bought it for the base, and then I traded the figure. But this one, I don't know. It just I'm not really feeling it, and the Topher Grace head sculpt, I kind of forgotten about him, to be honest with you, and so I'm not really feeling that one's not for me, I don't think.
That is fair. I do like this gargoyle base that it comes with.
That base is great.
I mean, I could see a Daredevil figure on there. I could see various different Spider-Men on there. I could see a couple different Batmans on there. Like, I think it could be a cool base just to have in the collection. Is that worth buying the whole figure for if you don't love the figure? Yeah, probably not. Lean, are you a symbiote fan? Would you get this one from that film?
I own the Carnage.
Okay.
Let There Be Carnage. In fact, that figure made me go, and I saw the movie with 4K Blu-ray was on sale last week for $8 on Amazon, so I went and bought it. The gargoyle here is I caught that one patient, the Topher Grace partially gooey head sculpt.
Yep.
Yeah, no, there's zero chance I'd buy this thing. I think this thing looks hideous to me. I'm actually in the thing possibly buying the actual movie Venom, the new one, tonight. I'm considering to go finally with my Carnage. Now, I want to be fair, though, is that I'm not really a third-party collector. I really only buy licensed stuff for the most part.
Oh, you fancy.
No, it's just, I haven't had too much any third-party I've ever really wanted to buy. The closest I got was that Anna Marie Rogue. That, was it Mars Toys, I think, did that one? They came out not too long ago.
The Rogue? That was So-So Toys.
So-So Toys, that's right. So-So Toys. I think this base looks awesome. I think kind of with the Venom head on the suit, it looks all right. But I hate that head sculpt, man. That gooey head sculpt, man. I'm sorry. It's got to look like Topher Grace to me, if like some form or fashion. But, I mean, I guess in Star Ace terms, that was pretty good. I mean, that looks more like Homelander than Homelander did for that figure sculpt. But
the funny thing is, I don't think this doesn't necessarily not look like Topher Grace. There is that one scene in the film where he does get like the spiky teeth and stuff, and it's like it's close. It's close. I can see it.
I'm not quite seeing the Eric Foreman there, but okay.
Fair enough. But Lane is too fancy to collect third party. He's stated it out loud now. So if you ever have a third party, I'm coming for you, Lane. We're gonna have a little chat.
To be honest, Ben, sorry, Ben, I hate interrupting you, but they're called third parties.
Third parties.
In Lane's defense.
And
Ben, that isn't the first time that I've said it for both on statue streams and also 6 scale that I really only buy licensed stuff.
That is fair. That is fair. Nick's Understore Collectible says, I like being bad. It makes me happy. Hopefully, Nick, there's somebody out there in the world like you, sir, who is excited for this figure. So those of you who are listening live or listening on the replay after the fact, let us know. Don't let Nick's Underscore Collectibles be by himself and be the only one that owns this figure. Let us know if you guys are going to buy it and what your thoughts are of the Venom. Now, let's stick with getting nuts again for one last third-party version here. This is and I apologize, I thought this was misspelled several times, but it is not. It's the Toy X Trubed, Trubed Kingpin, or Underground King. And this popped up in the feed this week, and I was like, oh my god. After seeing the So-So Toys version of this character, of course the Kingpin, from Hawkeye and from Daredevil's universe, this one looks oddly shitty and also oddly good in some ways. So for me, the head sculpt on the left does look like Vincent D'Onofrio. I do see him there. I can see him kind of being like Vanessa, in that particular face. But then the one on the right with the hat on does not look good at all, in my opinion. Pete, what are your thoughts on this Underground King? Is it truly the king of third party? at this
I
point.
think the face on the right is when you do a fart and it comes out wet.
Oh no!
He looks troubled.
He looks troubled.
He's caught a little whiff of it as well.
He's wearing all white too. That's the worst.
Yeah. I'm not a big fan. What's with the Christmas tree? That's like one of those really awful, like I don't know.
I think it's
horrible.
because it's supposed to be from the Hawkeye show where it was set at Christmas, because this was the outfit he wore at the last scene of that show.
But it just, I don't know. It's a very odd accessory, and it looks
Weren't they fighting?
Like a bendy wire.
Weren't they fighting when he fought? Is it Echo? Were they fighting? Did they end up in some sort of a store?
Kate Bishop in that store.
Possibly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So was it Kate Bishop he fought, or was it Echo in the end?
Echo was at the end and shot him in the face,
Right.
allegedly. But I think he was fighting Kate Bishop in that store, throwing her around pretty aggressively.
Maybe it was true.
Does it look like two different? It looks like two different people altogether in these two different photos. Like this is like shockingly bad on the left, in my opinion. Feezy, what do you think, here, buddy? Is this one that's even worth discussing at this point? It's like this is like the third party I've seen in a little while, right?
Yeah, I was discussing with some other collectors in their chat, and I was pointing out that the head sculpt on the left looks like the lady from the Goonies, the older lady. He kind of reminds me of that, yeah.
Oh, great for
Yeah.
a custom, yeah.
Yeah. But no, I actually pre-ordered the other one that released. I think, who was it from? I want to say it was
So-So Toys, I think.
I think it was
That
So-So.
one.
Yeah, that
Variant,
one.
right? It was so that one I think
That
was
one's
better.
beautiful.
Yeah,
That one's beautiful. I saw Usby's unboxing of that one, Sean Usby, and he so cool. Sorry to cut you
Yeah,
off.
it looks pretty good. Yeah, so a similar take. It's like very similar. So I guess this company thought, hey, we'll try to give them a run for our money. I don't think it's working, but yeah, I'm getting the other one. I'm getting the So-So one, not this one. This one's kind of bad.
Fair
Can
enough.
I make a comment?
Of course.
I saw one of the comments from Collection Obsession said the shark face looks more comic booky, and it's true that that one actually, when I actually look at that, I said, well, if I were able to find a way to fatten him up a little bit more, that would be a great comic book representation, because Kingpin is in the comics is so much bigger than Vincent D'Onofrio, and I said that would make a great comic book version. The shark face, the one where he's kind of scowling, something. It looks like he just came back from some really bad dental work or something like that. Maybe he has wisdom teeth pulled out or something. But yeah, I do like the shark face. If he were fatter.
So in the comic book, did he shard himself regularly?
That's
The highlight of my evening hearing.
Yeah.
Thomas say sharp face.
Yeah.
Several times.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, classy Thomas said sharp face. So
Classic Thomas. You love it. Shiny says here, this isn't Kingpin. It's clearly labeled as Underground King. Very, very astute. Very astute. Shane, what are your thoughts on this Christmas Shark King? Would you pick it up?
Oh man, Thomas cracked me up. Where do I start? I like Vincent D'Onofrio. Ever since the Full Metal Jacket days, that's just what a movie.
Yeah.
I watched years ago. I watched the first season or two of Daredevil on Netflix. I'm gonna go back and rewatch them because I remember enjoying them at the time. But this is from the Disney Plus show. Would that be correct?
Yeah, from the Hawkeye show.
And I have yet. I watched them all because I like to stay in the loop. Because if you miss one series, you won't have a clue what's going on. You won't get all the references and jokes. I watched them all, but I've yet to buy a figure or own a figure from any Disney Plus show. So this one won't be coming home. I think there's better versions of Kingpin out there. I think that's a fair statement.
Absolutely. Unquestionably, I think that's a fair
And I'm
statement.
not talking about the quarter scale one. Just
No. Yeah, for sure,
But,
for sure.
yeah,
The Christmas
I-
tree does look like it's been ripped off like a Christmas cake or something, though.
Yeah,
It's a very cheap looking accessory.
It's got like
so.
like a wire up, like a yeah.
Yeah, my ex stepmom used to build like Christmas villages on the fireplace mantle at one point, and she had like like the little people that would skate around and like all the
Yeah.
lights and everything.
Yeah.
This looks like a Christmas
Very
tree from
weird.
one of
Yeah,
those
yeah,
old
yeah,
school
exactly what I was thinking.
sets. Yeah,
Yeah, they
100%.
they probably stole a box off the Hobby Lobby truck. Just
For Michael's. Yeah.
yeah, Michael's right.
exactly. Guys, let us know once again in the chat below. Are you going to pick up this Shark King Underground King Christmas version of this Kingpin, or are you going to try and get your hands on the So-So toys? I would honestly, if it were me, go with that So-So toys one. If you can find it still, I think that is a clear winner. Lane, let's get your take first this time, buddy, on this guy who popped up in the chat. Now, of course, or in the feed this week, this is Loki from season 1 of Loki on the Marvel television show. And I will start by saying I absolutely loved the show. I know it didn't get a ton of fanfare. There's a lot of people who really didn't love the show. But anytime there's any type of multiversal universe kind of action, that always gets me. I like the concept of time traveling and what that can do to a universe. So it was really right up my alley. And at first I wasn't totally sold on Loki in this outfit. By the end of the season, I was like, man, if they release this, I'm gonna 100% pick it up. So Lane, what were your thoughts on both the show and then this figure release? Is it something you're gonna buy for your collection?
I've never watched a single episode of this show.
What? Lane,
I've
need to
watched
see it.
clips from it and everything, like from the 5th episode. But I've never watched like the final showdown with the first variant of John Majors that we ran into.
He Who Remains. Yeah.
Yeah. However, that being said, I think this outfit looks really cool. I think this is a perfect outfit if you have like the classic Loki that came from Avengers Endgame, or Avengers, Endgame, his old, this younger variant of him. I think this would be like the perfect thing to put, because it's totally like completely 180 looks for this character. I think this looks really cool. He comes with a lot of accessories, and if you're getting Sylvie, if you were buying Sylvie for some reason, I think you have to get this guy. Like, they go together perfectly. I admit, if I was going to buy one figure from this show, like just for the figure, not even worrying about having seen it, I've seen the scene like with all the variant Lokis and stuff. The one Loki I want to get is President Loki. I just love that guy, even though he is in it for like a minute, and becomes crocodile food or alligator food. But I think this Loki, the head sculpt looks great. The outfit looks good. I'll leave it to you guys to kind of discuss more, but I guess I'll leave this a question. These are because, like I said, this isn't one I'm going to necessarily get. I think the head sculpts look good. I'd like to hear more you guys, how you feel this one in comparison to some of the other Lokis, like the 2014 Loki, basically, that we just had come out with the big helmet and stuff. I think it's going to be a good figure for $270. I'm still not sure about the pricing on this one. The one thing I'll say that looks like crap is that the portal distillation thing comes with him and Sylvie. That was terrible. But otherwise, I think it looks really good. It's a solid figure.
Well said, Lane. Pete, do you think that this is the definitive Loki now at this point? And if not, what Loki do you think people should still consider having in their collection otherwise?
Yeah, I don't like this. I think it's like others have said it before. I think I made a joke to myself, and then that it's the UPS delivery driver Loki. I mean, he's just it's amazing. It's not a very interesting suit. Look, I mean, I don't mind the face sculpt, but I don't like the hair too much. I don't like the transition between like what looks like a really short haircut and then the long stuff kind of stuck on the back. It looks a bit odd to me, and I can kind of I just look at it and I see a short head and then just some hair behind. I didn't mind the show. If I wanted a Loki, I don't know. I think really the Avengers 1 look is the classic one, and obviously that figure started going for stupid money. I don't know if it still does, and it's an older figure, and obviously they brought out subsequent ones where you've got the helmet with the horns and everything. I think for me, I'd want to have him in his traditional, like with the helmet on and stuff like that. Whether I'd go for the original Avengers or the Dark World or what have you, but it wouldn't be this one. And I'm along with Shane here. I don't really want figures in civvies, and I mean, unless you count Indy as wearing civvies, which he probably is. And I've got a few of them, but it's obviously a very iconic look, and I think you can get away with that. But yeah, no, I'm not a big fan of this.
F. Wellington asks, does this body have man boobs like Shang-Chi? I mean, I didn't really notice it. Maybe this picture, like slightly, or like maybe no, I don't think so. I think it's passable. Feezy, when it comes to Loki, do you think this is the best likeness of Tom Hiddleston that we've seen so far?
Off the top of my head, I would have to say yes. I haven't. I need to go back and compare, but. Yeah, like unhelmeted, I think so. Yeah, this is probably the way to go. But for head sculpt wise, it wouldn't be the one I would pick up if I were to get a Loki. I agree with others that I'm not really big on figures that kind of just have everyday white collar clothes on. But that's just me. That I probably would go for the more recent one with the horns that came out. The
2012
yeah,
Endgame.
Right. Yeah, that's Loki. I probably would get if I did. But again, that's leaving the helmet on version. Yeah. So
yeah, I just recently got that one in my collection. I love it. Despite the helmeted hair looking a little greasy and like slicked back because of the helmet, I really like the figure. I do kind of wish they'd given us this head sculpt along with that figure though, so you could have an unhelmeted version without such a greasy hairpiece. Now, Shane, I'll go to you quickly next because I'll be curious what your thoughts are on. Why do you think that this is already waitlisted then? If the majority of collectors that I've talked to have been like, this is a pass, this is a UPS Loki, I'm not interested, all of the things, how the heck did it go waitlist so quickly with regards to Sideshow? Or do you think that that's actually a tactic for sales on this particular figure?
No, I don't buy into the waitlist worry. I genuinely think that Hot Toys are probably making more or less the same amount or whatever, and Sideshow are just, they're sick of getting stuck with loads of stock, so they're ordering maybe less. Obviously less people are ordering as well because people have gone back out in the world since 2020, yada yada. So I think maybe this is just they ordered less because the demand was less and they satisfied the order that was out there, and that's it. I think it's really that simple. I don't think there's any tinfoil hat. I don't think it's a tactic. You might see a few of these people who are on the wait list for this convert. That's because people realize, well, they don't actually need this Loki because it's just dressed like he's going to work in the 70s, or he's UPS guy or whatever, and they're going, you know what, the Endgame one, despite the fact that the head sculpt is not as good as this one, is fine. I mean, I think of Loki, I think of Avengers 2012. I don't think of this guy about to come in and hand you an envelope or a package, or just leave the package out in the rain and don't actually deliver properly. But I will say, the tailoring is fantastic on this, and the head sculpt is miles better than the Endgame one that I have. It is the best Hot Toys 1/6 scale Tom Hiddleston that I have seen personally. But yeah, I just think less demand. They ordered a certain small batch or whatever, they ordered a certain amount, and
it got soaked up.
I'm guessing they're satisfied now.
That's fair. I do think that the price is a little aggressive, a little high on this one, to be honest, considering it's a relatively like civilian style outfit, like you've coined the term in the past, Shane. I think
price for tailoring, Ben. Price for tailoring.
Well, fair, but I do think that it would have justified the price better though if it had seamless forearms and wrists like the NR Joker that we saw recently, especially because I think it's a pretty iconic look for this character from the show to have the rolled up sleeves. The jacket looks good on him, but I think this is a cooler looking look for this particular Loki. If it had those seamless forearms and hands, I think it would have been an immediate buy. That actually takes me out of it just a little bit. But one last question for Classy Thomas. Do you think when you see these two characters released from this show, which one of them is the companion piece and which one of them is the one that you should have if you wanted to only have one from the Loki television show?
I have them both ordered. because I kind of feel like they really go together. But if I were going to say one is would be the main one, it would be Sylvie, because we haven't seen her before. We've seen lots of Lokis, and Sylvie's another Loki. So I would say that Sylvie will be the one to get, but that head sculpt on Loki is brilliant, and so I'm glad to be getting both. But if I were only able to choose one, I think I would have gotten Sylvie.
Totally. Well said. I'm the same boat. For me, I like seeing original characters on the shelf. And while I do like this Loki, I think if I was going to buy either one at this point, it actually would be the Sylvie. So we got one last figure, guys, and then we're going to wrap up the show for the day. This Bad Batch character, and can you tell me which one this is again now? I think this is Crosshair. Is this correct? Perfect. This Crosshair popped up on the Hot Toys feed this week. I will be honest with you guys, I really didn't like Bad Batch Season 1. I tried. I went back to it a couple of times and have had a really hard time getting through it. And so I haven't even started Bad Batch Season 2 yet. But when I think about a group of characters that look good with like a team suit look, I will say these Bad Batch figures are coming out looking real crispy. So Pete, I'll start with you, good sir. What are your thoughts? Did you see the show? Are you a fan of it? And have you been diving into this line? I forget now.
Yeah, no. I did start watching. I watched a couple of episodes of the first season when it first came out, but I hadn't watched all of the Clone Wars, so I didn't really know what was going on. So I am working my way through the Clone Wars very slowly with my son. Nice. We were binging it for a bit, and now it's kind of got a bit by the way. So I don't know if we'll get much further. But objectively, I like the outfits look great. The grey and the red looks really nice, and I think they're really well done. And it's great that they are going to complete the line because they so often haven't with things. And really, I think if you're going to get one, you're going to get them all. I think it's it's a weird one to leave any of them out because they're an ensemble piece kind of thing. And
Definitely.
I think I saw someone when I went to Celebration, Shane. I think somebody was dressed as the guy Crosshair in the middle, because there was someone that had a big thing like sticking out of his shoulder that every time he spun around I thought he was going to take my eye out.
Yeah, I think there was definitely at least
kind of
one
explains
yeah.
what that is now. Yeah.
Somebody had something sticking out of his
Yeah,
outfit.
did. Yeah.
Interesting. Feezy, what do you think on this particular figure and or the line? Is that something that you've been considering picking up after the success of Bad Batch? I was going to say Bad Boys.
Yeah, what you gonna? I actually haven't watched this either yet. I think I'm gonna. The newest season's over, right? That's already done. I might have to.
Season 2, I think it's at least getting close, if not already wrapped.
It's been done for a while. They announced at Celebration the third and final season will be coming.
Oh, okay. So I think I'll probably wait till the third season comes out and maybe watch, maybe certain episodes or arcs. That's kind of what I do with the Clone Wars, just to kind of see. Because I've been hearing mixed things about the show. Some people saying it's a hit or miss, so I'll have to see what the consensus is on that. But I'm probably in the minority in that I personally don't need all of these figures. I'm just getting tech because I think tech looks the most unique and awesome to me. So I'm passing on Crosshair. But I do see how some people can feel like they need to get all figures in a certain group. For me it depends on the group. For instance, Power Rangers, I have all the 3-0. I can't just have one personally because I was big on Power Rangers. So I have all 6 of them, the Green Ranger being the 6th, the original, and I also have the other ones too. But for these, maybe it's because I haven't seen the show. I might feel otherwise when I see this show. But for now, I think Tech was probably my favorite for now of the group.
Fair enough. Well said. Shane, what is your favorite of this line so far? And would you consider picking up the whole line with the success of Bad Batch?
I haven't seen a show. I am a Trooper collector. These do look amazing. I gotta respect Feezy for not going with the crowd, and I'm very much, if you get one of these, you gotta get all of them. They are a team. But I appreciate someone who paddles their own canoe and go, no, I'm gonna cherry pick here, right? Because I do that myself from time to time. But when I see Guardians, all of them together. When I see these, all of them together. They're not for me, but my favorite one, I actually think my favorite one is the kind of sciencey guy, the Tech. He's a bit different.
Yeah.
I don't even think he's here, because isn't this Crosshair that's
His
Crosshair?
figure's not been
Tech's-
released yet.
Yeah,
and then
Tech's
Wrecker were the
not
last
here
two.
yet. Yeah,
Not yet.
but that was the one that kind of stood out to me the most. But like, I love Troopers, and I love the idea of like this, a group of 5 or 6 special task force sent down to some planet to sort stuff out, because it reminds me of Colonial Marines or something like that. So I think Tech could be my favorite here, but no, I'm not picking any of them up. I haven't watched the show. I've heard the second season though is really, really, really good, Ben, seeing as you've always committed to the first.
Yeah, I've had a hard time getting back to it, but even Zach really likes it from Collecting Weekly, and he's collected a bunch of the smaller scale versions, and so I actually think that's my favorite way to collect this line, like the smaller scale versions, and give them some weathering and stuff like that. Like Zach has a really cool display that way. Thomas, would you say this is a line that's going to come to your collection, and if not, what is one of your favorite team suit options that exist?
I don't think that this would be coming to me. I'm not really a big Star Wars follower, so I don't really know anything about these characters, even though their armor looks really amazing. And I have been known to just purchase things randomly, knowing nothing about them, just because I like the way they look. But I think I will pass on this. But I think that the favorite team suit that I really like is the Guardians 3. I really like those suits, but I'm actually going to be cherry picking. I think I'm going to be getting. Well, I know I'm going to be getting Groot, and I'm not going to be getting Rocket. I've got the first 2 Rockets. I'm thinking seriously about getting Gamora. And I know I'm going to be getting what's the dude's name? Dave Bautista.
Drax.
So yeah, Drax. So those I'm going to be getting, because now I really like Nebula's other figure, but this new one has some really cool accessories. So I don't mind having 2 of her in my case. And Drax, since I missed the first one, I really like him there, so I got to get Drax in there. But I don't feel like I have to necessarily have them all in there. Oh yeah, see, it looks amazing. But I don't feel like I have to get them all in the in the same suit, because I kind of like their individuality. This is the only choice I have for Drax. And for Nebula, she's coming in because she's just cool, and I like her. And of course, Groot, because I think I have the young Groot. I have teenage Groot. I have the original Groot, and I've got a little baby Groot sitting around somewhere. So I kind of want to keep all the Groots going. I really like Groot. But yeah, this is amazing. I love Nebula. She is. Yeah.
And I'm glad you
cool.
mentioned that, because I actually had Nebula on my show sheet today, and then I forgot to add her slides. And so, but talking about team suits, I totally agree. This is a pretty unique looking team suit with all these kind of coming out. Power Rangers was one that crossed my mind in the past, Feezy, like you mentioned, that they've done well because of their different colors and subtly different helmets, but still look really good when you get them together as a team. I totally get that. I had the Green Ranger for a period of time, just standing by himself, and while I liked the figure specifically, something didn't feel quite right about it without having the rest of the group there. Lane, you mentioned in the back private chat here that you are very excited about this Bad Batch character or figure.
I had him pre-ordered day one.
Day one pre-order.
He's been paid off for 6.5 months since December of last year.
Wow.
I want this guy. This is my favorite Bad Batch member, even though he's not been part of the Bad Batch since like the second episode. I love this. This is my favorite armor. He's got my favorite helmet. I love his gun, especially this is going to come with several different versions. So I guess depending on how much room you have in your detail shelf or something, may fit what gun you put him with. Dude, I own Tech. I own Hunter. I had them pre-ordered. I have had Tech pre-ordered for a while. He's already paid off. And yesterday, I just finally, my LCS confirmed that they pre-ordered Wrecker, the big one, or the big kind of dumb one who is good at smashing stuff. Wrecker. I just got my $100 down toward him, so he's on pre-order too. So I'm getting the entire series, our entire crew. I will say, this is really their season 1 look because they have different coloration and stuff in season 2 that look awful.
Oh, so you're not gonna buy season 2 figures if they also come out?
No.
Oh, okay.
I don't think they will. The only character they're missing is why am I suddenly forgetting her name? Omega. Sorry, that's
Omega.
Some really bad, Hunter voice in there. I mean, Hunter was Space Rambo, so I knew I was going to buy him the first time I saw him. But I love this line. I love the armors. These guys can actually pose. This is the only Echo that we have. Admittedly, I want Echo. I want a heart trooper. Like, just stick the armor that's on Jesse and stick Echo's head before he got turned into a robot man on there. Boom, I'll pre-order it day 1. So, but I've seen this. I've watched all the Clone Wars. Like, I'm really into. So, I'm very much into this stuff. So, I am not necessarily. I am not a person who is very like not heads, in the grass kind of person already with this. I was going to buy these guys. Now, I considered I didn't necessarily need Tech and Wrecker because those are my 2 least favorite of all these guys. Like, I don't really care for their characters too much. I like Tech more in season 2, but Tech, the figure, I think what you guys were talking about was right. I think his figure came out. I think is the maybe the most interesting one. We'll have to see when in 2024 when he comes out. But totally. Sorry, this is the one I've been waiting for the entire time showed for us to get to.
I love the excitement, Lane.
Yeah,
I love the excitement, buddy. That's awesome.
Ben, I will say though that I see these uniforms. I mean, this armor. I actually like this because they're not duplicate armors of each other.
Yes.
They're coordinated well. I mean, they have the same colorations, but each armor is a little bit different, and that's what I like. I don't like it like, for example, when they did that X-Men Dark Phoenix movie where they all had the exact same flight uniform on. Yes. I like it when something can distinguish one from the other.
Having a little personality in
it,
right?
Exactly. Yeah, totally. And this looks really great. I mean, I love the way it looks, and I would love to see it in someone else's collection because it would just be amazing. But yeah, I don't think that would be something that I would necessarily collect, but it looks terrific.
Absolutely. Well said. I would love to hear from everybody listening to either the replay or the live chat. What is one of your favorite team suits of all time? When I was trying to think of them earlier today, I couldn't come up with very many in my mind's eye that I actually truly loved. But if you guys have any, put them in the comments below and we can talk about those potentially next week. Now, our friend in England, Pete, you said you're getting a little on the sleepy side, good sir.
Yeah,
but before we wrap things up, I've got one quick that is, of course, for Shane. He put it here with a €5.99. Thank you so much, good sir. Massive thanks to Ben Thomas in the chat. You cracked me up tonight. This is for the Ben StreamYard upgrade. Yes, I do need to get a StreamYard upgrade. I think maybe the super chat money that has been slowly accumulating will go to that. I think that's a great thought, actually, Shane. But thank you, good sir. You don't have to super chat me when you're in the in the panel, but it's very kind of you to do so.
Why not, man? Why not?
Like shows the chat has been fantastic tonight.
Yeah, you guys have been hilarious.
Brilliant.
Yeah, you guys are all amazing.
Right.
You guys are awesome.
Pete, Only Fools and Collecting podcast, a division of Collecting Weekly, of course. What do you got coming up, good sir, for this week of your life, and what can we look forward to?
Well, it's an off week for us this week, so we did a show last Thursday, so you can check that out on YouTube. I'm not sure if it's up on the podcast yet. As Lane was saying, at the start of the stream, well, when we were backstage, that we're closing on 100. We've got 6 shows to go every 2 weeks, so in about 3 months' time, probably So yeah, we're looking to do something special. I'd like to get as many people on there as want to join us. Really, go for like a 6-hour stream or something crazy like that. And Lane, you're more than welcome.
What I was saying, yeah, I don't know if I'll do that long. I like you guys.
Oh, whatever, Lane. You ramble just as much as I do, Lane. A 6-hour stream for Lane is no problem.
That's why I put it in. I know. I know Lane's coming, so we need to clear the schedule. But
Thanks.
Yeah, it's all good.
All good fun.
Yeah, still enjoying it and everything. So yeah, check us out if you haven't already.
If you guys are new to the Ben Thomas Show, you have to check out Collecting Weekly specifically, but also The Only Fools in Collecting.
Yeah.
One of the only channels that I would say absolutely every single time they don't like something, they will tell you, and it makes me laugh aggressively sometimes when I'm driving between job sites. So check those guys out for sure. Now, Jay, this is your first time on the Ben Thomas Show, specifically Let's Get Nuts. How was your time on today's show, good sir, and what do you have coming up that we can look forward to for you, good sir?
My time has been great. Thanks again for having me.
Glad you were here.
Shane, Pete, first time, so it was a pleasure.
No, it's been
Hopefully not the
great.
last.
Yep.
Yeah, and then of course, Classy Thomas, Lane. I'll see you on the
Classy
next one.
Thomas.
As always. But yeah, thanks Ben for having me. Appreciate it. And yeah, I know I've been slacking on my my channel here. So this weekend though, I should have something coming up. I had scheduled this some weeks out just because again, guest schedules. I know I don't have I know it hurts me and my viewership by not having a set time, but like I mentioned to you, Ben, I kind of work and accommodate around my guest schedule so I can get them on. So I'd rather have them come on than trying to have minimal guest participation. But yeah, so I scheduled something some weeks out, and this weekend that should be coming up. So apparently Collecting, new episode finally after a hiatus of like 2 months. But yeah, if you guys are interested and you haven't subscribed, it'd be for your benefit to kind of just subscribe, just get those notifications. If not, catch me on the socials, and I'll be posting up something there in advance to kind of let you know. But it should be this weekend, most likely Saturday. So just be on the lookout for that. And thanks again, Ben, for having me.
Yeah, man, I've really enjoyed all of the content on your channel so far. It's criminally underrated at this point. If you guys haven't subbed, definitely check him out. He's 2 subs away from 100, guys. There's got to be at least 2 people in the chat here to get him over the 100 finish line here.
I just subbed him on my burner and my real account. He's at 100 now. So you can get him up to 140.
You can get him 140. Yeah, let's do it. Absolutely. Mr. Shane, 16 Figure Focus, good sir. You are one of the busiest guys on YouTube, especially now that you're on your summer break, I'm sure. What is coming up for you, buddy, that we can look forward to?
Do you mind if I share this, if that's okay? I just really quick, just like 3 slides. First of all, this was just a really fun one. Everyone, the panel, Pete and Feezy, Ben, Thomas, Lane, just like cracked me up in the chat. Were really good as well. So look, my channel is 16 Figure Focus. The same at 16 Figure Focus on YouTube and on Instagram. So do the figure pre-order preview videos, unboxings, live streams, do a bunch of shorts and stuff like that. Sometimes I do display tips and stuff like that. If I get something in new and I like it or whatever, and just I share how I'm doing things. So that's that. I do a series of videos called Shit Collectors Say. It is not an attack on the community. Mostly of these videos are me mocking myself at the silly things that I say. But look, we know the phrases, we all use them. They're there. If you want to check that out, I'm guilty as charged. And then my weekly show is called The Hope Show. It's at 8 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time every Monday, which is 3 p.m. New York time, Eastern time, or midday West Coast. Really quickly, just before I move on, myself and Megan, the girlfriend, we were in Dublin City Centre today. She dragged me to see a musical called West Side Story. I'm playing the boyfriend, Tax. I'm going to drag her somewhere she doesn't want to be some other time. So we're in the middle of
into your collection room.
Exactly. Wow. My collection dungeon.
Yeah.
So I swear everything's not 6 scale. So we're in the middle of a place called Grand Canal Dock in the centre of Dublin. This beautiful Bord Gosh Energy Theatre where they have all these musicals and stuff. And Megan says, "Hey, isn't that the guy from Star Wars?" And I'm thinking, she's just winding me up. So I turn around and sure enough, I suspected it was a guy from Star Wars, and I needed a coffee, purely because that's where he was walking. So I walked into this coffee shop, and it was very quiet for Dublin at this time. And I'm there, and I order my coffee, and I notice this guy has just orders his takeaway coffee, and he's just stirring the sugar into it. No one's around. It's unusually quiet, and I just says to him, "Sorry, excuse me, you're Giancarlo Esposito, right?" And he said, "Yes." And I said, "I'm a massive fan of your work."
Wow.
And he just said, "Thank you," and we went our separate ways.
Nice.
What a day! Yeah. So,
Brilliant.
but he
That's
said,
cool, man.
he said yes and thank you in the same way that Gustavo Fring said it. And me being a chemistry teacher, I'm thinking he's just fucking sick of chemistry teachers. You know what I'm saying?
Can you do a reenactment?
Great bloody day. Thank you so much to everyone in the chat, and thanks for the invite. Loved it.
Absolutely. No, that's an awesome story, dude. Collector Obsession with a $2 super chat as well. Thank you so much, good sir. I definitely appreciate it. It will go towards the StreamYard upgrade.
No, you complete me.
All for you, good sir. Now, of course, we have SpongeBob a Square Balls, or Classy Thomas, in the chat with us here. Thomas, you've been starting up a channel. You've been slowly kind of getting it pieced together and everything. What can we look forward to from you, good sir, going forward?
Well, I think that what I'm going to be mainly focusing most of my time on is doing some of my kit bashes or figure adjustments. I'm not going to really be doing a ton of reviews unless I'm really, really, really motivated. So if I see something that I'm just completely excited by, I may do. I'm probably going to be doing less of a review and more of just filming myself playing with the toy, because that's really all I want to do with it. And I just want to play with the toys and just have a good time. So I may do some of that. I probably, once I kind of get things a little bit better organized, I really want to do some story time where I'm actually reading things out of the comic books. And if I have the figures in my collection, then I may try to recreate a little scene or so in there. Like I have this dream that once I kind of finish my Luke Cage that I'm customizing, and when I get my Doctor Doom, I want to do that one out of Heroes for Hire where he beat up Doctor Doom over $200. That is the thing that I want.
Nice.
I want to do that so bad and read that story and have those figures. I mean, that's my dream, is to do that. But yeah, I'm just going to have fun with it, and hopefully I will be able to start getting consistent, because I whenever I do my do them, I try to post them on Wednesdays, so that at least if I'm not consistent with everything, at least I have a consistent day. So once I kind of get things started up again where I'm a little bit more regular with it, I'm going to try to make sure that I post them on Wednesdays. But yeah, I do hope you all will join me, and I'm thinking based on your suggestion and the other guys on Collectors Weekly, I may actually do a small tour of some of the figures that I have out now. Especially, I really do want to show off my X-Men, because I'm a huge X-Men fan from back in the day, and I really want to get that out there. So I may.
I'm a sucker for a collection tour, man. So you put that up, I am there with you, Thomas. Always a pleasure to have you here, good sir. Thanks for
inviting
the
me.
Let's Get Nuts for sure. And then, of course, once again, last but not least at all, Lane Kramer. Obviously, you pop up on Collecting Weekly quite a bit, here and there on Monday unboxings, as well as some After Darks occasionally. Is there anything we can look forward to coming from you? Maybe a Bad Batch figure unboxing at some point.
Well, I just did get, I don't know, I think I'm going to be on tomorrow night. I did just get in Batman Beyond from the Arkham games.
Very cool. It's a great figure.
Supposed to be the Batman that's actually going to go with my Bat Cycle.
Okay.
I don't know why I decided to buy the figure a year and a half early, but hey, I can say I'll have it. But it may be that, or I might have something a little bit bigger and grander possible that might be unboxing tomorrow night. But I don't want to say anything more until
Stay tuned.
Zach might
Fair
put
enough.
the little thumbnail up.
Okay. So that'll be on Collecting Weekly, though, you said.
Yep, that would be
Collecting
Unboxing
Weekly,
Star 9.
Unboxing Monday. Perfect. Just to address a quick question from Robert Online. It says, Ben, have you moved? Still empty in the back? Yes, I have not been robbed. But I also have not moved. Not quite yet. So I did lock in my new apartment. I'll get the keys on the 27th of this month, and I have to be out of my house before the 14th of July. So right now I'm very much in limbo. If you walk the rest of my house, it's pretty empty, lacking furniture and pictures on the walls. The only thing that's left remaining still intact for the most part is the collection room down here. But even then, I've already packed up all my figures, with the exception of Neo that I recently got, because I didn't want to get robbed while people were touring my house considering buying it. So you will see me officially moved at some point between now and July the 14th. And then once I get the new collection room set up, I will definitely take everybody for a tour of it. I'm pretty excited about that aspect of it. In terms of the Ben Thomas show, I've done a couple videos this week. One was on this or that, so that had to do with the Gamora figure. Apologies, the Nebula figure that just recently released, because I was in the neighborhood, looking for a Nebula figure, and I wanted to buy the original one that came out, and then they released this one for pre-order, and so this or that. Which one do I buy now? Or both? I see where you were going with that there. And then, of course, I do typically quite a bit of preview videos when it comes to Exo-6, so I've got my take on the Tom Paris there as well. I dive into it a little bit harder on that one. And then every Sunday, as long as everybody is available, as long as I can make it to the show of myself, we will have a Let's Get Nuts episode here live every week. It seems like more people are catching on to it now. Make sure you share the content if you guys had fun watching the show. To everybody that's still here, 30 people still watching, I love your faces. You guys are awesome. I really appreciate you guys showing up and having some fun with us on the chat today, making us laugh, and especially my esteemed panelists. You guys are always welcome back to the Ben Thomas Show. Anytime you want to join, you put your hand up. I'll try and get a little bit better about organizing maybe ahead of time so we don't have to kick anybody out. One more thank you to Chris, if he's still watching, for jumping out today. Let's see if we can get Chris into next week's show for sure. But with that, guys, I think today it is safe to say we got nuts. Thanks for watching, everybody.
I'll be back.